Okay, wait a second.
Township, regular trustees meeting, January 4th. Come to order, roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Eastwood?
Here. Time is 7:02.
PM.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join us in a moment of silence for military, past, present, future, first responders. Thank you. Before we get into the meeting tonight, I'd just like to ask everybody to silence their phones or turn off their phones. We always ask for people to be respectful for your comments this evening. So, the first item on the agenda, or the next item on the agenda, is the approval of payroll.
No, it's here, I just got it, so. Thanks. So, payroll was turned in, it was approved by each of the department heads, and then the trustee liaisons. We had another terrible week with the police department, which caused a delay beyond words. So there was a slight delay with the zoning board too. There's one zoning board member that is not paid because, as I think we talked about last year, that if anybody is going to start working, before they can start working, they must fill out a packet, because we can't, there's rules to being employed, and you can't start working until you fill out that I-9 form. But this person did, so we can't pay him because we don't have,
Who are you referring to?
his last is Colin or Colin, I don't know how to say his last name.
During Cologne?
Yes.
Oh, Anthony.
So, anyways, he was left off payroll because we couldn't obviously pay somebody who has not given us documents,
Can you
so,
enlighten me on the police department issues?
yes, I can. Let's start with the fact that, we either have the worst internet at the police department, or we have officers who just can't connect. It won't connect, I guess. Chief Minnick describes it sometimes when he puts notes in as officer has connectivity issues. The problem is, there's 4 shifts a week, right, that officers are assigned to. When there's 3 out of 4 of them that they don't punch in on because they had connectivity issues, that just is, I think, absurd. We need to get somebody out there then to check the connectivity. What's going on, right?
As long as they're punched in at the right time, and you cross-reference this with security and cameras and stuff, correct?
Well, how's
And then
that
we-
working? How's that?
Or it's working just fine, because
That's what I'm saying.
we're paying the employees for the time that they're working, and you're going there and doing forensic
I'm not.
research on clicks.
I'm reading
on
the
the thing.
notes.
Well, yeah, I'm telling him to put the notes in there, but he's allowed to do it, as long as we pay the employees for the time that they worked and that time is correct. I don't care if there's 800 clicks on there or edits, as long as the time at the end is correct.
You're not concerned by
I
the
am
fact that there's connectivity issues on 3 out of 4 days in a week
I'm here at town hall, not very often, and how many times do they log in the paychecks and we have to restart the computers to punch out or punch in on paychecks? You know,
We don't
so-
have those kind of connectivity issues here. It's few and far between that Bruce is
But to
having
chastise like
issues.
police for not being able to push a button, was that what you were saying? A red button and a green button?
That's exactly what it is.
So, but the
That's-
chief and I look at it and we put in the hours that they
A
work.
lot of these connectivity issues are linked to days that there is overtime, a lot of overtime. I think you need to look at that. And then on top of it, you know, there is a rule that if you're going to change the time card, there needs to be a note in the system. So then on top, there's been days turned in with overtime slips, but no note in the system that says, hey, this is what happened. I mean, so it just doesn't, there's no sense to be made of it, Chuck.
So, we're working every paycheck Sunday, and I don't wanna get too deep in this, cause you and I are gonna obviously agree to disagree like always. We fill out those forms as best we can, and then, and the paychecks is the digital form, and those paper forms describe what's going on in the paychecks thing. Chief has been very good with me, I'm sitting there with him, so when you're telling me that I sent him an email to double check everything, I was sitting with him with that email.
It was sent, I have the email printed out, Chuck,
It
you
was
sent it to
It was
John Minnick.
It was a reply all saying that payroll was approved, but please check that the premium holidays are correct. Just like we talked about on Friday when you were sitting here, I reminded you that we have problems with premium holidays.
Okay, this is not what that said, and maybe you don't know how email works, so I'll invite you.
Wait a second. Right in the beginning, I said we're gonna speak respectfully to each other.
I am
So,
being
no, you're
respectful.
condescending.
Okay,
So please,
I can use a sweeter tone, but payroll is approved. We did have prime holidays that looked correct this time, but as discussed at the meeting, please double check those holidays. And that was to John Minnick.
It's a reply all, okay? And when I say, why would I send it to John Minnick and say approved? Okay, I mean, come on.
Well, I don't know,
No,
you
it's
have
just
to answer that, Chuck, you're the one who sent the email.
It's exactly the same as I always do, I hit a reply all with an approved, okay? So, let's move on.
You're the one who sent it. I mean, Bruce, why would you be getting all upset? If you're gonna be upset with somebody,
I'm
be
not
upset
upset
with
at all, I
Chuck.
can just simplify it for you so it's easier for you to understand next time.
I mean, I guess, actually, if you're gonna do something that's easier to understand,
So what's the next one?
you should
Can
be
we keep
sending
moving?
the email to me if you want me to be the recipient of it. So the next one are 4 officers, and they were paid, they had 28 hours of unpaid time, even in the unpaid category, which if you paid attention to the payroll, you would know that the only time there's hours in there is when an overtime to comp time conversion happens. That's when those hours move over into that column. And I do that at the end of payroll after I know everything's correct. I go ahead and approve the overtime to comp conversion, and that's when those hours move over. So on the police at Christmas, on that premium holiday, there was the 10-hour regular shift for each of those officers, and then there was 28 extra hours beyond the 10 hours in the unpaid.
Okay, well, that goes back to the part of, please know that there's a premium holiday and review that for us, because I would figure that would be right up your expertise. And that's why I
Instead
requested that.
of saying there's 28 hours in an unpaid column,
You weren't touching those columns like you requested.
It was the approval
have you
thing.
heard of this before?
yes, it was the approval that was the problem. I'm not sure, hey, I don't understand why instead of saying, hey, this just doesn't look right, 3 people approved it, so the employee approved it, the police chief approved it, and then you approved it, instead of bringing it to my attention, not like, hey, look, just, it's right, it looks right, there we go. No, say something about it.
Okay, I did, I said it looks right, but please review it because I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know how more crystal clear and how much more I can ask you for a little bit of help in your job.
You couldn't say, I don't think somebody should have 28 hours on their,
I
on
think
one
you're being
day.
ticky for tacky. When I literally pointed out that day to review it,
So you added you added 10 plus 28, that's 38 hours on one day. I don't think just pointing out to review it
All right, we can
is
move.
enough.
She did things about behind the scene, they don't have to be talked about in a public meeting, and it's not hiding anything, it's just being professional. These payroll should be talked about during the week, behind the scene, you don't talk about in the township meeting.
You can simply call me too and say something, or even the chief, we're more than willing to take a phone call, you know?
I'm not, why would we do that when nothing's changing? That was what was going on for the first year of the chief being here. Nothing's
problems
changed
with payroll since you began this job.
since I began.
Yeah,
No, there weren't.
I've researched, you've had a problem with every police chief since,
Really?
yeah.
Really?
So let's keep moving on.
How many were there? How many police chiefs
I
were
think we've
there?
gone through 3 of them so far.
I could,
Keep going.
so, let's keep going, you're right.
Yes, keep going.
Then, let's talk about the comp time and personal time and vacation time requests to cash in that were turned in on December 31st at 10:54 in the morning.
On a Sunday, that's the day that every other Sunday, the chief and I come into the office and we work on the payroll, and that's when we process it, because we have
First and
something.
foremost, it is payroll number 1 of the year, not the last payroll of the year when they would be turned in. If you read the contract, you would find that that's, remember, they have to
So,
be turned in
Payroll
last.
number 1 is right now.
Yes, this is payroll number 1. So, and it was New Year's Eve. It's, just because you were working on it doesn't mean I was.
Hey,
And
I didn't know that elected officials get holidays. I sure never got
I
holidays.
didn't take a paid holiday, I just didn't work.
You know, you had me jumping through a hoop on Christmas last year, so.
So
But we
this
come in
is-
every
this is
other
like-
Sunday and we work on
Is it a
Sundays.
tit for tat job?
No, I just didn't even look at it as or New Year's Eve. I looked at it as a day that I am obligated to do my work for my.
Okay, and payroll's due by Monday morning at 7, and I woke up, and by then, the time had rolled, was gone, because we have set the rules into paychecks, and paychecks actually worked like it was supposed to, so it was gone. Now, if you read the contract, you'll see that the comp time has 30 days to pay out from the time the officer requests it. So, it doesn't have to be done right away, so they needed to be on top of this. Furthermore, you have a sergeant who requested 93 point, I don't know, 03 or something like that, but 93 plus hours of vacation cash in. You approved it, Chief Minnick approved it. They can't, what do you mean this, Bruce? What do you mean this, with your hand like no big deal?
Okay.
The contract says he can only cash in 40 hours. Why are you approving something well in excess of what is allowable?
It's a simple phone call too and say, hey, that's too many.
A simple phone call to, why is that my job? Your job is to follow the contract.
Okay.
I know, it's hilarious. Instead of holding these guys accountable.
We're not holding us accountable, we were
people
just sabotaging it the whole entire time, so.
What? You're sabotaging.
Mr. Loss Ventura, I've asked you once, this is the second time, please be respectful. Please be respectful.
Yo, so this took. So this is not proofed. Because Jamie and I finished this up. At the end of the day, it's not proofed, so there you go. But you have payroll and people will get paid, so.
Unfortunately, I still gotta talk about your hire. We're talking about employee packets and stuff like that.
No,
We're gonna need stamps on this.
yep.
So I'm taking it, Cliff, you're on this payroll?
I am.
All right, that's fine, cause she's allowed to hire you.
Yep.
But I also know that I can't find an employee packet.
I don't know why you can't.
We don't have it here. Chrissy, do we have an employee packet handed out to him?
I did not find an employee packet, if there was one turned in.
All right.
There's been nothing changed from day one.
What do you mean from day one?
When I was hired the first time, it's all the same.
No,
Same
when
letter,
was that?
same everything.
When was that?
21.
21? So in other words, you're telling me like 3 years ago, and we're
3
supposed to
years
use the
ago,
same
you need
stuff?
to check your math.
No, we
We're also
need a new employee.
Looking for where's your employee folder? Where's the employee folder? Cause
I don't keep an
In the-
employee folder.
there's no employee folder.
Yeah,
Well,
he wouldn't be, why are you
that's-
asking
that's-
him?
that's,
I'm asking you, you're
That's a
hired.
big mystery then.
It stays in the personnel folders like every other,
So you weren't hired for the last 3 years. You mysteriously.
You guys need to check your math.
Hey, why don't you let me talk, buddy? Okay?
Fine.
Buddy,
It's 2024.
tell you what, are you gonna say you're not gonna pay me?
Right now, I'm going to look into what's going on here
Are you
because
saying you're not gonna approve that payment?
He just said he was gonna look into
I'm asking a question, are you gonna approve that payroll
Wait a
payment?
second.
No.
Please understand something. Again, this is a trustees meeting.
It
Not
sure
a fiscal
is.
officers meeting, and it's certainly not your meeting. It is a trustees meeting, so please adhere to that.
What are you afraid of?
I'm not afraid of anything, but you should keep your mouth shut while we're talking, okay? Because you're being disrespectful up at our board, and I can ask you questions because you're an employee of this township
That's
supposedly.
right, and
So-
I can make if you're talking to me, I can talk to you.
Well, let me finish. So first off, employee packet. We have not seen an employee
Cliff
packet.
doesn't have keys to this building, nor to the files where the employee packets are kept, so why would you ask him where it's at? That makes no sense.
But the employee packet is what he's asking about, and you just 15 minutes ago made a comment that you couldn't pay somebody because they didn't have an employee packet.
Larry,
The employee.
Did they fill out an
The
employee packet?
employee packet was filled out in 2021 when he was hired. He was put on leave and nothing was changed. I verified that before I brought him
I
back.
happened to be on the board just recently when he was quote put on leave, and he actually resigned. There was a letter of resignation
so
there.
that's not.
That's different than being put on leave.
Okay, so perhaps you don't know how it works in paychecks. There's an option to leave somebody in the system if they ever return. And then all you have to do is verify that their tax information and direct deposit information has not changed.
This is the first time I've heard that he even exists.
I mean, it
I'm
might
her
be.
You
hire,
don't
not
have to
yours.
hear that he.
Yes, we do.
No, you
We
don't.
have, the board has to approve it.
No,
No,
perhaps you
We
don't
have
know.
to approve.
You need to check the law.
How about
Yes.
I have the law right in front of me. So
So
the
do I.
township fiscal
Read
officer.
it.
I am, bud. You just relax. The township fiscal officer may hire or appoint a person as a fiscal officer assistant when she finds it necessary to provide assistance to the fiscal officer, to the township fiscal officer or deputy fiscal officer. But it is also subject to Division B. So Division B here says, the compensation of an assistant appointed under the section shall be included in an estimate of contemplated expenditures to the township, for the township fiscal officer's office that is submitted to the board of trustees for approval as provided in section 5705.28. There was nothing submitted to us for approval.
Yes, there was.
No.
Yes, there was.
When? Show it to me. I mean, you're
It was
talking
2
about
days ago, but it was
2
already,
days ago.
it was already approved.
Yeah, you already approved it in the budget.
It was, the numbers were already approved in the budget.
And that's
Okay, it
the-
didn't
There
change.
was no position on our organizational meeting last year where we sent any funding for a fiscal
And
assistant.
this year,
Those-
and it's on there.
Those numbers didn't change last year's numbers either. There was no, he,
We would set the compensation for a fiscal assistant.
no, you would
No.
not.
It's,
You're,
Look at
you're
what you're just
reading the
reading,
law,
and
and I
it
can't
states
believe,
who
the
sets.
fact that you just read that and you don't understand what
No.
it says
I-
is laughable.
it's, you know what, it's hard to interpret it. It says right here, the fiscal officer may set the compensation for the person subject to Division B. Division B says clearly, I'll even read it again for you. The compensation of assistant appointed under this section shall be included in the estimate of contemplated expenditures for the township fiscal officer's office that is submitted to the Board of Trustees for approval as provided in section 5705.28, which basically says that the trustees approve the compensation for your fiscal assistant.
No, it does not. You have to read it, Chuck. I mean, I don't know when you're here, just.
He just did.
It
Right
does
here.
not
Well, you're
say
gonna have to
that.
argue with Supreme Court too.
Where are you?
Okay.
There's already been a case on it.
Chuck,
Board of
do you
Trustees.
read the township magazines that come out? This was a big to-do because trustees were trying to screw over their fiscal officers. And so this went to a Supreme Court case, and after that, they changed legislation. So I really don't think you know
So
what
you
you're.
don't think that bringing this right off the Ohio Revised Code today is correct?
I
No, it is
believe-
correct.
I believe that you are
Mr.
misinterpreting.
Longo, please.
You are misinterpreting, and,
I sat down with the prosecutor's office
okay,
and asked, and they said, we are the ones who set the compensation.
that is incorrect. I will tell you it's incorrect.
We, yeah, I need, you're gonna have to get an opinion from the prosecutor's office on who approves the compensation for an assistant.
I,
I have absolutely no problem that you want an assistant, I think you need one. I just wanna know what the compensation, we set the compensation, at this meeting, because we found out that we have a fiscal assistant, miraculously.
The one says they did know, and the other says they didn't know.
I didn't know until I saw this thing, which is a
I'm
printout of your,
saying as far as having a
hours.
fiscal officer.
So where, are you- so another thing here in our employee handbook, it says that you have to punch in on paychecks and punch out and have, where are you punching in?
he is
What do you
punching
mean, where am I
in.
punching?
I ask you, where do you punch in? Do you have a set spot? Like here at Town Hall, we punch in at Town Hall, we punch in at the police department, and we punch in at the service department. Where do you punch in at?
Wherever I have to be to work, wherever I am at the time.
So you can just punch in on your cell phone is what you're saying, wherever you feel like you're working for the township.
Yeah,
Okay.
or my computer.
And what are you, I mean, I'm like looking at your hours and your schedules here, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
2:30 in the afternoon to 10:30 at night. 8:30 at night till midnight. I'm just kind of curious of what a fiscal assistant would be doing at those times.
What am I doing right now?
Her talking, sitting here, I don't know what you're doing.
I'm attending a meeting.
I appreciate you
So some
coming
of
to
those
meetings, I
hours
wanted
are
to talk to
reviewing
you,
meetings.
So, and then another day you got 12:05, 4:06, and then you punched in again at 7:47 and punched out close to midnight. And then on that day too here, it's showing that you have overtime. That you work more than 8 hours, and it's showing overtime on this payroll slip, which I don't think that's correct.
No, it is correct.
It is
just
correct,
happened,
because
that's
it
how
was,
worked out.
it happened to be over 8 hours in a day. That's the rule. So, I'm gonna ask you something, Chuck, this is interesting, because, so, I sent out a question, because somebody got into our bank account and released funds. And I asked, the only person who had access to it at the time it happened was Joshua Eberts, right? Except that these reports, I didn't generate these reports, so how is it that you happen to have this in front of you?
This here
Yes.
was emailed to me.
By whom?
This is,
forwarded to you by me.
Yeah.
They came into, the main email.
By whom? Who sent it?
You did.
I didn't send that.
I'll go print it out.
I said,
yeah, I think you said, please submit this into the payroll.
I'm not even sure what we're looking at.
It's just your time sheets. I'm just trying to figure out your, what
Okay.
your schedules are working
Okay.
and when you're working and what exactly fiscal related is at
Okay.
midnight and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to figure this thing out.
How many,
I mean, I'm hoping you're helping her with purchase orders and opening these things up
oh,
because.
I am, and
Well-
just like today, I was on the phone with, Lighthouse to get the computer, issue taken care of, that he should have done last week. So that so that she's not stuck on what is it, Bankers? Yeah, and, so there you go. And there's sometimes that I'm not even on the clock working because I get a phone call. I can't say, well, wait a minute, let me go over here and punch in. No, then take the phone call and then, okay, now I'm gonna punch out. It's not something I'm gonna do anything with until later.
And what are you working on these times that you're doing? I mean, I'm
So
just,
I just gave you an example.
So you're working with Lighthouse at 10:30 or 11:30 at night?
I just gave an example. I didn't give an
Well,
example.
it's just a question.
That's one of the things.
When so many of your times are like way after 5 o'clock, normal business hours.
Okay, no,
Let's see,
you're on a normal
10,
business
10:30,
hours. How is
11:52,
Sunday
11:47.
getting with the chief doing payroll normal business hours?
the police work 7 days a week. And so
I
when
work
the,
7 days a week,
so when the police,
24 hours a day. And I punch in when I'm actually doing whatever township work, and I punch out. As a matter of fact, I haven't missed a single punch in or a punch out in 2 weeks.
I'll bet you.
well, it's just random, it looks like you just punch in and punch out randomly, so yeah, you wouldn't miss it, would you?
So maybe what we should do is set some hours for you.
We did
You
set
don't
hours.
have
And
the
that way,
authority.
You don't have the authority to do that.
We said
That way,
we
we
know
two,
when you punch
I
in
work
and
a
out.
lot of her hours, which is not a 9 to 5.
According to the Ohio Revised Code, we set the pay rate and the compensation.
Okay,
I think we should take this up with,
I think we should take it up with the prosecutor.
Very well.
Okay,
Mike.
what's the end of this?
We're going to review it.
I mean, you've got the payroll, are you gonna approve the payroll?
What is your pay rate?
$25 an hour.
I'm not approving it.
Well, then nobody gets paid.
See, that's extortion.
No, it's not extortion because it's all on one thing.
payroll's done.
I don't care.
Payroll's done. So
We knew what,
tonight, nobody
I
gets
actually
paid.
kinda knew what you were gonna pull. It's like, you either pay my guy an exorbitantly overpriced amount of money, or I'm not gonna approve anybody for payroll.
By the way,
And you do it all the time.
there had been a resolution already that, because before the.
I have never seen a
revised-
resolution where I am paying an assistant fiscal officer $25.
Well, I mean, I guess you'd have to go back in the
And
minutes
if you
and
look
listen
at
to
the
it.
resolution that we just did for office assistants and
That
everything
you
else.
just did after you found out I hired an assistant,
At $25.
because
We
you,
didn't know how much.
We
it
had
paid.
no
We've
idea.
never heard
No
that.
idea.
because you guys don't do your research and.
come on,
man.
Wait a second, wait a second. It's your obligation to say, I hired somebody, this is the
It
person.
is?
Yes.
Where-
And
where does
wait a
it say
second.
that in the
According to
statute?
Ohio Revised Code.
Where does it say that?
And then you have to say, I wanna pay the person X amount of money. Then the township, trustees then can say, yes, we approve, or no, we don't approve
No,
that.
that's not what that says.
I have an idea, and it's just a matter of moving us forward.
Yep.
It's absolutely not I yield to the extortion. However, I can't afford to have, none of us wanna have our people not get paid. And we all know we have to go to consult legal. Forgive me for my late injection here, but I fully of the understanding that there needs to be a board-approved pay scale, is how I was told from the prosecutor. And one of the questions I was gonna have, cause you've never told us that you hired somebody, so I didn't know, I didn't have a chance to ask
You
you.
like to call Otarma a lot.
I absolutely call
They
it
wrote a
turnover.
whole article on this, Doug. It was over a year ago this came out. I think you
Okay.
really should
I don't
utilize
think,
the
I
resources.
think what I would like to do, you know, and again, going back, I think a Facebook page of yours even talked about how the fiscal officer should be working with the board, and the board should work with the fiscal officer. It's a two-way street, okay? That being said, you know, and we all agree that you could use assistance, and we're not opposed to that. I'm not even opposed to paying you, sir. I just don't know where.
For actual.
I don't know where the resolution is, and I feel that either it's on you to provide that for us, so that we can see that it's established, because I heard there was one done, but I don't know where it's at. And if there isn't one done, then we should have a new resolution to establish one, which is kinda what we did the other day as a starting
Well,
point.
there was a resolution done, but then the revised code changed and I believe superseded that anyways. But
So the revised code you're saying says that the board has nothing to say about it.
correct, legislation changed when the Supreme Court case.
Okay, so we'll look into that, in my opinion.
Well, this was
Okay.
2023.
Yep, I mean,
That's why the.
I wanna get this, I don't mind paying her assistant what she's asked, I wanna get this done so we can move forward. And there's absolutely no overtime unless there's over 40 hours a week, period. There's no contract with this situation, and,
Well, that's the other thing too on here, I was just trying to look, and again, this is only a printout, cause I didn't have access to this thing here, but it says 40.28 hours. And then you click over to the thing and it says 0.18. So that 1.8 is only coming off the fact that he worked over 8 hours?
Yes, and that is a rule in the system, I mean, that is our rule. Our rules are written into the system, so that, I can't change that.
When they work over here, you're not getting overtime until you guys work over 40 hours, correct?
No, that is an
That is
ad
absolutely
time.
right.
No, it's not.
alright, so
Okay.
let's.
It wouldn't have done that, I can't,
No.
he's,
So let's go ahead, and like I say, the 0.18, I don't agree with any of it,
Yep.
but I wanna get it.
0.18 was a result of my trying to make sure I didn't go overtime, and like I said, there's a lot of free time in the township here.
Well,
You have no idea.
we have a lot of kumbaya with one another, but for right now, we gotta move forward. I don't wanna drag this out. The amount of money we're talking about in light of other issues at hand is minuscule.
which is a,
So, I would like to,
now, please bear in mind, we got off the original topic, I have approved that. And when that's happened before, there's been errors with social security, and because Jamie put in a lot of
So
those.
are you gonna prove it?
I didn't proof it,
Are you going to prove it now?
it takes hours for me to go through those.
So you want us to sign something in a minute if you haven't proved it?
No, I'm telling you I haven't, I am letting you know on the record, I didn't have to say want or,
and
I'm
if
letting
we
you
approve
know.
it, and if we sign it, and if there are errors, then they just need to be fixed.
We'll
That's
adjust
all.
it next time.
That's
But we
it.
need you to look at it and point out if
I mean, and if we don't pick them up,
I
and
need
it
you
gets
to
caught by
look
the
at
auditor,
it
they'll
and
tell
point
us.
out. I want you to do your job.
And we try, but we also ask you to assist because you are the fiscal officer. And that
Right.
is a part of your
And-
job
and-
is to assist
and-
and to advise on the financial part of it.
And you know what, Chuck? I do, but when payroll is taking up 2 weeks, because I do 1 week of trying to get a payroll mess cleared up, and then I spend the next week fixing all the errors, then nothing else can get done. So this is just, it's taking too much time.
Right, oh, it's way too much time. Would you
Can we
please
have
fill
an
in those
opinion?
blanks?
I'm thinking that the 69 figure goes here, and the remaining deductions goes here. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it does, so you guys can fill it in.
My apologies to you in the audience.
I'm glad you're here.
And here's the thing, if you would stop putting me in the position to have all the liability on me.
Communicate with us.
I have communicated, I have communicated. There are emails going back and forth, there are calls going back and forth, text messages. I have communicated to the point where I don't think there's any more communication to have, because it's all been said, Chuck. It's like I hit a brick wall with you guys. There's nothing else. What else can be said? I won't beg. I'm not
I'm
gonna
not
beg
begging you to beg. Even these simple things on this payroll, I feel like we could accomplish all those problems and fixes. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on with paychecks with the premium holidays.
I don't
but-
either.
But again, it was something that we were 100% aware of, and we pointed it out.
But I got an email saying it looked Good, why would I think that it's something?
It said it looked good, but please double check it.
You said that to Minute.
Okay. We're gonna move on.
Gonna make a
And,
motion?
okay, I'd like to, I move to adopt resolution number 01042024-010 to approve payroll dated 1/4/24 with the total amount of $69,107.59 with, pardon?
701, not 107.
Oh, I'm sorry, $69,701.59, with the total remaining deductions and total liabilities of $11,479.84, and incorporate this two-page document as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just to
Okay.
point out to you,
Roll call?
do you wanna?
What?
I want to point out that Sergeant Mantel's, reimbursement is on there. There's gonna be a lot on that payroll journal to look at, to see, so just, I know that was
very much. That was a
something
big
that you
Yeah.
want, so.
Christopher,
Aye.
Aye.
Johnson.
No. Also, real quick, Brett Harrington's sick time transfer.
I reached out to Brett, I asked him to forward me the email that he received from New London, so as soon as I get that, I'll get that taken care of. But, or I will try, let me rephrase, cause things don't always go necessarily the way they're supposed to, so I don't wanna, I will attempt to get it taken care of to the best of my ability if everything goes as planned.
Alright, cause we never had this much problems with sick time transfers before.
I've never had a document that looks like it was altered for somebody to get sick time.
I mean, it was your interpretation of it. I think you could have called New London really quick and.
I did, and they told me that was not the document, that, in fact, I actually was Cliff, and
Oh, I went to New London.
No, I know you went there.
So you knew all along you hadn't system, because that was 2 weeks ago.
I was informed, that somebody from New London called us asking us about an interesting person coming asking
said I
about
knew
information,
when
and they were asking us.
There's a huge difference between you wandering around the countryside and we finding out about a roundabout way, than it being brought to the meeting and saying, I wanna hire an assistant, or I hired an assistant, and here's the amount, and then we approve it. Big difference,
What's next?
okay?
Okay, we got through item number 2.
Number one, but I'll ask you.
It's this.
one other thing to mention real quick, just for if any of the employees contact you, the old insurance rates were still in effect for this payroll, because it, remember, we're like 2 weeks behind, right? So this took us up to, I believe it was the 30th. Yeah, the 30th of December. So the new rates will start on the next payroll. You know, so if anybody wonders and asks that question of the department heads, that is why they're not in effect.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the following Medina Township Administrative, estimated blank.
Wait, where are we at here? Number 3 on the list.
Purchase orders and training, I'm sorry.
Yep.
That's okay. You have some.
I think we all got some. So, purchase orders and training requests. I have some purchase orders, and I also have the sheet of purchase orders for the beginning of the year. Just trying to look real quick, on purchase orders that I did last year. I have gas, sanitary, voice and data, and wireless POs, just to name a couple of them that I was looking at on the appropriation list from 9/28. And my unencumbered amounts, and again, I have not gotten the actual purchase order numbers or anything like that from September or any of these. So I'm looking at the unencumbered balance, because obviously when I do a purchase order, that encumbers it. But my balance from 9/28 all the way to this one that you gave us on the 12/20 at the end of the month of December, there is nothing taking out, like the $600 perfect voice and data, it was $600 unencumbered back in September. And then I encumbered the balance of that $600 as a purchase order, so,
No,
and it's still $600 in that.
yeah, because you tried to do that at like the 21st, I think, meeting?
12/7.
Or 12/7, yeah, one of
That's
the,
the first.
but you don't do that at the end of the year, you wait till, because you had enough to cover, I paid the last telephone bill. You wouldn't encumber that money in 2023, you need to wait till 2024, those, you were using,
So when I did the blankets, at the beginning of the year, you said at the end of the year, I'm going to have to pull purchase order, these are the specific accounts, because that blanket will not go past the 31st.
if you were out of money for 2023, but you weren't. So you didn't need money, you don't open purchase orders.
So, but again, my one purchase order was from 9/14, and all the other ones are from 12/7. This is the first time that you even mentioned to me that you were not going to open up my purchase orders.
No, I
So-
told you that on Friday. We talked about that on Friday.
I don't remember you saying that you did. You said that, actually, when we asked about the purchase orders, you said that you had put them in the back room for us, and I don't think anybody's been able to find those purchase orders.
I said I left them on the island in the kitchen because the back room was all torn up. I said when I
And
came.
not one person has them or seen them.
I don't, all I can tell you is when I took the basket and the blue books, I left them right where that
Can you
was.
give us new copies of those? Reprint out those because we don't have, nobody has them, right? I mean, anybody? Chrissy?
Somebody's gonna have to tell me which ones they were because I left them here,
We
so I
don't know
don't
which ones you left, so. All right, so that was my question on there, so.
So, but Chuck, the ones that, the utilities and things, you didn't need them, and it's, like, basically, why would I open up purchase orders just to shut them down because you
You
needed
don't
to?
shut down purchase orders, you said that you can carry them over to the
Yeah,
next.
but there was no point, cause you're gonna be doing that right in the beginning of the year, so it's like double the work, that doesn't make sense.
All right, well, I have some new purchase orders today, guys, hopefully we'll get open here. So, I'm gonna go with the bigger ones first, just because I had written them out instead of the sheet. So I'd like to make a motion for a purchase order. The vendor's gonna be the Medina County Emergency Management Services, Department's Fire. It's gonna be the 2024 yearly fee, and their fee is gonna be $2,926.41.
Second.
Quick question, is that getting paid right away, or is that?
This is opening it in advance, because last year, they just gave us the bills,
Yeah.
and I was like, I gotta open up a PO, so I was on top of it this year.
Okay,
I
no,
called
that's
them up,
perfect.
and I was like, what are you gonna charge us, so I can be prepared?
You ready for roll call?
Yeah, I'm just, remembering it's 2024. Roll call?
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Alright, so that's one. I'd like to make a motion for a purchase order. Department again is gonna be fire. The vendor's gonna be the Medina County Emergency Management Agency. This is gonna be the 2024 all hazards team cost allocation. This one will be $4,316.01.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Yeah, I take the white copy, and
Would you like a second?
if you can, thanks. Plus,
Next one, I'd like to make a motion for a purchase order requisition. This department again is gonna be fire. This will be our 2020 fire service fee to the city of Medina. This year's fee, which is also the last year of our contract, will be $349,264.
Second. What was that amount again?
$349,264.
And that's for an annual for the last of the agreement.
It's the last
Before
year of
it's
the
renegotiated.
2024, the fire, and we'll be working on a new contract
So
this year.
we've gone up about $100,000 going back to when we moved from the
It was
township.
230,
235, I think, or 230, yeah.
230,
Yep.
and then it's progressed up to 240. But you also gotta remember, we went from an 8-hour, a normal day shift to adding a second shift, to
Right.
adding weekends, to adding second shift on weekends, so our coverage is almost doubled
Is much
in the
better.
last few years.
I agree.
Because a lot of people, again, being from the city and moving to a township, and everything, they didn't realize that we didn't have a 24-hour service. So we're working on, that as one of our goals. All right, roll call.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood,
Aye.
Mr. Christopher.
Aye.
I'm just realizing that there's 4 spots to put the date on this thing.
Do you need anything back for more dates?
More dates?
More dates?
Any more dates? Okay, so that one's done. All right.
I think we've got dates, this is dates everywhere.
And then this will be, it's gonna be a purchase order sheet. All right, and it's most of the ones I think I need, because again, I thought I had some open already, so I do think a couple of these might have to get added later on. But, I'd like to make a motion to approve my sheet of 2024 purchase orders and blankets. And I will present this one-page document as presented.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood,
Aye.
Mr. Christopher.
Aye.
So to that, so you do have, obviously, I haven't shut the year down for 2023. We've got some stuff, that we'll talk about later going on before I can do that. But yes, there are some purchase orders that are still open on your utilities and things like that. And then the blankets you can only use those to pay remember.
The balance is from 2023.
Correct, but I mean, there are some that I'm just waiting to have, the rest of the bills come in and make sure we don't close anything down before, that closes out. But, that's what I was saying, like, besides telephone, which I paid the last one for December, so there was no reason to open. I looked at that, the one that you did, the 600, but we didn't need it for 2023, so it's just like,
Right, but again, my thinking was, you said that the blankets are only good for 2023, and there's that little gray zone in January where you would want a purchase order open for it, and that's what I was trying to cover the township with that purchase
and
order.
I did understand, but like I said, I knew everything else I checked and it wasn't necessary, and that Perfect Voice, or I'm sorry, it's Perfect Voice. We paid, it was December's invoice, they line up perfectly, the first to the 31st, so there was.
I did see some things with you requesting, were you requesting anything on LST? Was there an issue with LST?
There is an issue with all
Because I
this,
took
so,
a huge purchase order in September.
I know, but we ran through it really quick, and their bills got higher, and, so it was just a little over $1,200 short for the November bill, and December hasn't even come yet, so that is, and if you have an appropriation status report, I forgot to bring mine, you can tell me, that's gonna be something that without me giving any issue on that, we will do it then and now, but you'll have to.
Yeah, because, I put an exorbitant amount
You
on
did
it. It
200.
should have left me 44,000 extra.
You did 250,000, those bills have been,
Yeah, but I don't think any of them been over there's none been in the 50s.
so you had a little bit left when you opened, but not much when you opened that one. So, and I believe,
But then they gave me, they gave me at least 6 months.
you have to pull all the bills. I had Chrissy send October and it was closed.
Right, but when you're, yeah, I mean, I could've been notified on that too. I just started seeing these things with LST and I'm like, I'm not exactly sure what the issue is because I did a purchase order that should have taken us well through this year's first month or two.
Yeah, you know what, that doesn't make sense unless we were cause even if we were a bill behind,
You have to have
let me run a,
50 or 60,000 when we weren't there.
I'll run an appropriation ledger and see what happened, cause that doesn't make sense. But, something to note with that real quick, did they stop sending that breakdown?
They send it.
I'm talking about not, because there's a budget, the budget, and then they have the addresses.
Right, they
What,
send the
what
address.
about the breakdown of like how much, our calls are versus Montville, like the percentages, and then the percentages of collection?
We can get those, I get them, but I don't have them, in the bills, what I do with the bills, I get the invoice, and then Elaine helps me with cross-referencing the roads, because again, we were finding some issues with addresses.
Okay.
But they, again, keep thinking that Suma is part of the township, and I told them only the yards, the sign out front is, and I think the other one was Waffle House, and I said, we don't claim Waffle House, so there's just a couple things like that we've caught, but I think we're sitting down with them and stuff like that, we've gotten pretty good with doing our borders between, Montville and Medina Township.
Unless you have a reason to not want it to be part of the invoice, I would put it with it, because sometimes it makes sense for the next bill, like if they have to do a, collection, if there was collection.
Yeah, we can include everything that gets emailed to us, I have them print the packet out and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, it just hasn't been there, like, it wasn't there in November, I noticed, and then
I
like,
think you guys are giving them everything that we get in the email, correct? So if you're saying it's not,
yeah,
it's
well,
not, but I had an LST meeting, so I get the breakdowns and the pie charts and everything,
yeah,
and,
so just, they're not sending it, it wasn't there October either, she checked, so, yeah, maybe just see why they're not.
Yeah, just send me an email and
doing it, and then-
I'll make sure to pass that along. So this is exactly what you're looking for and I'll pass it along. Okay, I think I know.
So-
Do you have some?
I'll let you know about why the, with the, yeah.
Yeah, I can make a motion to approve purchase order requisition dated 1/4/2024. Department service. Vendor is General Maintenance Service Company, Smith Road, Medina, Ohio. Descriptions: emission repairs to the 2018 Kenworth T370, it's truck number 4. It's an emergency repair. $1,800 is the cost, and the account is 2031-330-323-0000.
Second.
Just one part of the discussion is that we need to have this certified as soon as possible. So,
Is this separate than what we did already?
yeah,
Okay.
this is a new one. This is a different one.
Okay.
So can you get that to Denny just as soon as
Mhm.
possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
The truck is already tore apart.
How many, how many, how much is it? Okay, I mean, it will be certified, even if I don't get you a number, but that will be certified.
tomorrow.
Like here, well, I mean, I will just sign it, okay, so you know it's certified, I will do it.
Thank you.
There you go,
Appreciate it.
you're welcome.
I get a second? Did we get it? Oh, we already got it. Roll call, please.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Thank you. No, that's all for me.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the following Medina Township Administration estimated blanket certificates / purchase orders for 2024 temporary as presented. Second.
Second?
Any discussion?
How many sheets are there?
Yeah, you want your sheets, how many sheets
Oh.
maybe?
Is that this,
There's
Two pages?
Three page.
actually, I think it's 2 pages.
You don't count the
There's no
cover.
total.
This is just the motion.
Okay.
And this is the
Two,
discussion.
excuse me, 2 pages as presented.
Did you get a second? Yeah. Did you get a Second.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Hold on, okay. I move to adopt, amend, resolution number 12292023-172 to approve accounts payable with checks dated, one, or 12/30/2023 with check number 333, excuse me, check number 33202 to, check number 33204, and also check number 33186 dated 12/21/2023.
Did we, I think we were supposed to resend that.
Yes, that is.
So,
Yeah, didn't I
did
say
you-
rescind?
I don't think I heard that. Is that what he said?
Amend.
He said amend, but
Okay.
you wanna rescind
Okay.
resolution number, okay? That's okay.
Okay, then we'll.
First full meeting.
Scratch,
people, it's-
scratch that.
Give it some
Okay.
slack here.
I move to rescind resolution number 12292023-172 to approve accounts payable with checks dated 12/30/2023 with check number 33202 to check number 33204, and also check number 33186 dated.
196.
Pardon?
196.
Yeah, I thought that sounded wrong.
That's all, just misread
Uh,
it. 33196. You just misspoke.
331, oh, is it 9?
Correct.
Oh, I thought it was an 8, okay, 33196 dated 12/21/2023.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Alright. I think in the future, like, we have something where you say, like, you just say, I'd like to amend that to say rescind, and I just make it simpler on ourselves. You don't have to go too deep.
I move, let's see, this is gonna be, what was the last one?
Resolution.
Yeah, I think it was 10.
Do you know what number we're on there for resolution?
11?
On 11,
Yep.
011.
Thank you.
11?
Yeah.
Okay. I move to adopt resolution number 01042024-011 to approve accounts payable dated 11/13/2023 to 12/31/2023 with checks, with digital checks, 56-2023 to 7/67/2023, and physical check number 33196 for the total amount of $292,297.15, and incorporate this one-page document as presented.
Second.
Do you want me to explain or no?
Yeah, let's discuss this one, I wanna see.
Want to have a discussion?
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of paychecks on
So, yeah, so what you just rescinded was one of the warrants that you approved on Friday for, Dean Merton Associates. And then the rest of, so I just wanted to put it on a warrant list, you know. And then the other payments are all electronic payments that I had just not put in the system, cause you know, that's like kind of a last priority, so it was just to get everything caught up to, all the electronics caught up to year to
Okay.
date. So it's paychecks and, not OPERS payments, so.
Is there a medical on here?
No, I have that on the agenda to talk about, so, we'll get to it, or if you wanna do it now, but.
Let's,
But
Yeah,
this
we're
is,
good.
this is the 2023
Right.
warrant list, and now you have a 2024 one too. I can't run the reports together, I have to separate it because of the way UAN works for reports.
give a second, right?
Yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Good. I move to adopt resolution number 01042024-012 to approve accounts payable dated 1/4/2024 to 1/4/2024 with the physical check numbers 33202 to 33214 and the total, for the total amount of $31,743.89 and incorporate this one-page document as presented.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I wanna see the list.
Where was the teamwork? Well, we already approved.
Deemer's on the
That's on this one here.
2023. Because I had already cut that check for the 21st meeting. So I didn't void it, you know what I mean? I wasn't gonna recut the check, so.
How much was the Deemer one?
21,417.
And just for the record, we had roughly a little over 21,000 in legal fees with the Deemer group. And we've had probably close to 20,000 with the official Downey group. Just to be transparent, and most of that had to do with our cozy negotiations and trying to get that worked out.
Did you? have roll call?
Yeah, did we do?
I don't-
did a roll call.
Did we do a roll call? Roll call.
Still in discussion?
I mean, the cozy is in here, right?
No.
No.
Do you wanna talk about that now, or you wanna wait till we get through?
Oh,
Let's get this thing.
Get this
out of the way.
Sure, all right.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
I move to adopt resolution number, resolution number 01042023-013 to approve the appropriation status fund dated 12/28/2023 and incorporate this 14-page document as presented. Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye. when we do start the 2024 year, we'll be able to provide a appropriation status report that will have the documented purchase orders and blankets represented once they're all logged in for January.
When they're logged in, yes, now the only thing is, again, because remember, order of importance, there, with the electronic payments, are not, like, that's low end of the totem pole, and there's some things that, like, especially with year end, I'm not too concerned about putting like paychecks and, you know, overs in there. So, you can get numbers, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not going to be up to date on those numbers.
I
you know.
appreciate that, I just,
So,
something's better than nothing, and if we have questions, we can contact you and you can set us straight.
yeah, I just wanna be clear, because like that's why I don't create those reports a lot of times if it's not up to date, because I hate giving out numbers if they're not
We went from
accurate, you know.
September 24th to December 28th. What's that time span for this?
Since the 28th.
The 28th to the
Yeah.
28th. So,
That 28th one, it was too much good.
That's, well, I mean, and this is the problem with like, with this paychecks, you know, with this payroll thing taking up so much time, it's just, like I said, when other things cannot get accomplished, then the township is over suffers. And
a bit
that's,
of help with some assistance there. You'll be better off.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's hope.
but it's still, I mean, we still have to keep things moving, and so if one thing, you know, if you look at a pie chart and one thing is taking up 99% of the time, there's not a balance there, and we need to get more balance,
All right.
so.
Makes sense.
As far as helping the system, this is the meeting, payroll was presented rather than at the last minute. I mean, it's being presented at the meeting, not dragging out.
Well, right, yeah, I mean, we would not have had a payroll tonight if I didn't have Cliff, honestly, so.
Thank you, Cliff.
You know, that's,
Makes sense.
And, let me apologize, because Bruce brought something up, not Bruce, now I'm calling him Bruce. Chuck brought something up earlier about being 24, you didn't realize it years.
In what regards?
I don't know, there's something we were doing there, oh, well, no, it's 24 every hour.
Oh, I saw it on the purchase order.
Correcting you as far as math, I didn't know what year it was.
All right, fair enough.
I'm still thinking 23.
Apology accepted.
Next item is bank discussions.
Well, it's the cozy. Insurance invoice discussion.
Okay, then we goes in the medical insurance increase discussion.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
sorry, you want me to?
You go ahead and go, because I think we passed a resolution at the last meeting to get these paid.
Correct,
And
so,
more than one trustee signed the paperwork,
correct.
and according to the state auditor, that's all you need to get the bill paid.
Well,
And so I'd like to let you go ahead.
yeah,
Why
so
it's not paid.
something, you know, and I had every intention of paying that, by the way, and so it had that, my computer that spreadsheet is on, and I put the, you know, to get the breakdown, had that not gone down, that would have been done. Then you sent that email to the auditor's office, and I don't even think it was about the legal bill, I think it was about the legal bill, but, something that has been really bothering me since I got the response from the auditor's office was, you know, the answer that, you know, as long as two trustees sign off the bill, and if it's legal and regular in every
And
respect.
if the prosecutor approves it,
Right, which I think
so
they,
they've given you opinion that said they approved paying that bill, those
no,
bills.
they actually stepped
No.
out of it. They have not given me an opinion, because they've been.
I'll get it for you. He was sick today, or I'd have had it redone now,
Well, I
but
mean, I think
the concept of paying the bills, like we talked about like the auditor approved, is they want to pay the bills, and there are legal statutes, so.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, the auditor, you know, he made and again, they're not here to give us legal advice, right?
Sure.
He says that every time.
That's correct.
And he made the comment in the email, and I mean, we can agree to disagree, but he had made the comment about how, like, yes, it's not compliant sometimes.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to pick whether you're gonna be compliant or keep a relationship with the vendor. And I will tell you right now, I personally will never not be compliant with the revised code to keep a relationship
I
with the
don't think
vendor.
it was talking about a
Yeah.
relationship of
That's,
vendor.
did you read it? That's what he said, so.
Just-
I don't wanna you can go back and read what he said, it's exactly what he said, so, here's the thing, and then this other section where it talked about, you know, the invoice being legal, and so.
Irregular or illegal
Right.
is what it says.
And I don't think we'd all be in court if I believed that invoice to be legal, I mean, that's,
The only thing that
The-
so,
But the point is, they told you in black and white, it's in that manual in the back, that if the fiscal officer believes the payment to be irregular or illegal, but has two or more trustees that sign off on it, and the prosecuting, the legal, in that case, it's for us, it's the prosecutor,
right,
approves the process. That fiscal officer is simply to note it in the minutes that they don't agree with this, and it will be stated as such, but they are to pay the bill. It
If-
takes you off, it doesn't matter if it's illegal or not, it
No,
says so, it
if
says that.
if the prosecutor's office gives their, an opinion saying to go ahead and do it, because that gives you the statutory immunity. They didn't do that, they told me that they were calling it a conflict of interest and telling us both to get separate legal counsel.
The conflict of interest is our problem, it stems back to what started the whole thing, and I'm not gonna get into that right now, again.
And that's fine, I don't
But-
really wanna,
but-
trust me, I don't wanna sit here and talk about my personal life, so, I mean, but.
But we need to get those bills paid, because unfortunately, you had a conversation with Barb, with Medical Mutual, I believe, this week.
Correct,
And you wanted the bill to be revised,
I.
and Barb said it's never gonna happen, so you just short pay it.
Did you
That's-
listen to the conversations? You actually listened?
I don't
Because-
listen to the conversation, I have the email.
Okay, no,
So-
I think, because I don't think you're being told exactly what was said. She said, she's like, I understand the situation you're in. I can't, like, it's not, the invoice itself is not working. I mean, again, with my spreadsheet not working, I can't be sure the bottom half of the invoices I couldn't make work. But the top half, I have no way to make this invoice match what it actually, like, I can't, I don't have a way in the system. I mean, anything short of handwriting a check and not putting it in the UAN system, which I don't think is a good idea, and we would never be able to close the year out if I do that. So, I don't,
How far are we paid, how far back are we now, November and December?
no, we paid October and November, or
Okay,
December.
so we have one payment to make before 2023 will be closed out.
Correct.
As far as they go.
Yes,
Because the standstill that we're engaging with is that if we don't pay the bill and we keep waiting to try to figure out some way to make it look right, Medina Township is going to lose its health insurance. Now, I don't wanna engage in some immediate emergency thing like we did before, that cost us nearly $40,000 to fight about it. I don't wanna fight, and I know you don't wanna fight.
no,
But we need to pay those bills, and we got, what is it normally,
You can't do it
37,000?
because you know, she can get into the computer.
well, it's that.
Well, that's a
and
whole nother story, that's not what she's talking about here. She's talking about disagreeing on the amount of money, and I'm just saying that somehow that dollar, if we keep putting it off, all of these people, including you and me and.
Well, what, okay, so, like, okay, yes, and we do need to talk about the computer thing briefly, but, like, even, Lighthouse, let's say they get me in, blah, 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 how do I make that check? I don't know how you want me to make that check work, because, like, there are requirements you see on the bottom of these checks, no, you didn't.
The first time they did that, we had an invoice of 37,000 or something, they told you to hold $1,000.
Right, they gave me a letter, and that was the thing. My attorney, I'll just tell you, he told me, reach out to that same woman, get that letter from her give her the exact amount of how much to keep off that invoice, so that you can make sense of that invoice. She would not respond to me, she did not give me that letter, and then for the township's attorney, had an email from her from, 2 days, a day, whatever, before our last meeting, and he did not, either he didn't send it to Doug, or Doug did not give it to me, but I was not given that letter until the Saturday after. So information that I could have had that maybe would have helped, or we could have corresponded back and forth, was not presented. And then we had this meeting where I said, yeah, I'll do this invoice, which I shouldn't have said. I should have said I'd try, but I had every intention to do this. And and then I get home and the computer is.
Well, let's just clarify real quickly. The letter from Amy says, as long as the trustees continue to pay the undisputed amounts amid the ongoing court challenge to the fiscal officer, the policy will stay in force. Unpaid balances will continue to accrue with a late fee. So that is their attorney stating to continue doing what we're doing. It doesn't give you a dollar amount, but it says keep doing what you're doing.
But see, we needed, that's why there had to be communication back and forth, because they needed to give me a dollar amount, because the dollar amount that they told me to take off last time was not the same dollar amount that made sense.
It was $980.
That is not the premium for one person and a child. It's just not. I mean.
But it's what they said, and we, we just.
Well, it is complicated. You have to have a.
They want money, and we've paid them twice, or 2 months out of this thing. And now we gotta owe them 1 month, and you agreed upon those 2 months, right? That you paid.
I had an invoice that I was able to make sense of, Chuck. I can't make sense of this. And if I can't, I have to put it in the system.
Well, the other thing is too, I talked with Medical Mutual, and even just trying to figure out ways to solve the whole entire problem, and I was conferred that their legal team said as soon as you present a legal document releasing the order, they have absolutely no problem correcting it. So why won't you present that legal document that they're asking for?
I'm not prepared to sit up here and have a conversation about my personal life anymore.
It's costing us, because I'm a resident here, and it's costing us
I'm a
tens of thousands of dollars over your divorce fund.
I'm a resident as well, and nobody else is subjected to sitting there talking about their personal life, and I'm not gonna do it anymore.
When you are holding every employee in this township for their medical.
I'm also an employee. I also have health insurance. Chuck,
I think what he's asking is pretty simple. You pay a chunk, even if you're off by $100 or something like that, they'll be fine to take the money and correct it as it goes. I guarantee you, they're going to tell us at the end how much we owe them.
I'm the one who this comes back on. And by the way, do you know that late fees are not a proper use of public funds? So what are you gonna do about that?
We're gonna let the auditor figure that out, okay? We need to pay bills. This is from Barb,
I'm not gonna run things, it's funny.
Said, we're keeping the group active. That means their medical mutual is being very hospitable to us. You called her today and said she can't legally pay the invoice because it's not correct.
This is okay.
She said it is correct, but we're not allowed, we're going to allow you to pay it short, like we did before. What can I do, or we do, to get that invoice? I mean, we were ready to get that check last weekend.
I mean, here's the thing, the trustees had, we were at our renewal, we could have, switched insurance and at least got into it.
That's a different discussion.
Okay, but you're asking, and that would have actually made sense, because we could have got out of this mess going forward at least. Everybody wants to like giggle about it like this is
I mean,
funny.
why would you dump somebody else when it's not their fault? You know, they've been pretty good suppliers for us, and they've been
Okay.
actually very tolerant
Well,
of this scenario.
Then, you know what, then you can take on it, because this is all such a joke to everybody, but it's not a joke to me. I'm not gonna not follow the rules.
I don't think anybody here is actually laughing about their money.
Well,
No.
I'm not laughing about the rule to not pay late fees, I'm not.
So I need to know, I mean, can you tell me now? I thought we were gonna pick the check up last weekend. That was what you had said at the meeting.
And that is what I intend, I
And
went
then,
in
and now, we can pick it up tonight if you want, or tomorrow,
I
but,
don't,
but what changed between then and now?
what changed was I sat down to break down the payment in my computer, the computer that I used to use to remote in, because that's where the spreadsheet's in, and the computer did not work. And this is something that I have told Lighthouse about several times, but ever since that resolution that was passed to give me, access to the passwords when Nick was fired, I was told under no uncertain terms that you told Lighthouse not to give me access to anything and not do anything for me. So,
Let me clarify something again for the record.
If you agree to that, please.
This is from Lighthouse, dated today. Gentlemen, this document is a timeline, substance, communication between Medina Township, Lighthouse Solutions over approximately the last 10 days. And this is in response to being accused of hindering access and assistance to the fiscal officer's computer. On 12/27, and I apologize for the time, folks, but this needs to be on the record. 12/22, an email was sent from Jeff Bark to Angela requesting an email address be established for Cliff Hawker. Jeff reached out to Doug Eastwood for guidance and was advised that it would be addressed at the next regular trustee meeting, which happens to be right now. I am a single person and I've been ridiculed for making board decisions by myself, and that wasn't something I was set to do by myself. At the time, again, I didn't even know that arrangement had been made, so no, I'm not gonna make a move to that till we've had our next meeting. 12/31, emails received by Jeff Bart from Brian Himmel from Doug Eastwood to follow up on prior communication and to advise that Angela was having an issue with her computer, which is communication Angela gave to me after we expected to get our checks. Doug advised that there was a report that Lighthouse was told not to provide IT support to Angela because now she can't get her spreadsheet to work. And he requested to know if such guidance was issued by us, by the township. Doug was advised that we, Lighthouse, had not received any guidance to deny Angela support for her computer issues, and that we had not received any support requests for computer issues. This is 12/31. 1/1, Jeff reached out to Angela via text to follow up on the computer issues. Angela requested an email regarding the issue but did not indicate what the issue was. 1/4, a voicemail was left for Angela by Brian Himmel regarding the reported computer issue. So this is what's happened since we thought we were going to get the check, and since I was accused of stopping them from servicing you. And I don't understand how that claim can be made when they right there said that's just not true.
okay, I mean, it will come out in the wash, trust me.
Just did.
Yeah, you did. My calls today aren't.
I
So
can't,
it's not accurate.
well, that came right from them.
Both the checks, both them all.
So you can forward them to me. I asked to try to help. I wanna get this stuff taken care of. Okay, I am not a hindrance, nor have I ever been. So don't say that I did something I did not do. And if I did say it, like then get it out here and show it to us. I'm tired of people throwing accusations out there and not having anything to back it up. I'm sorry, go on, sir.
Well, we are brought on by the board. We are in a court case, so some things have to be.
You say brought on by the board, that's a difference of opinion. Because you had a choice to make a change in a policy, you didn't go through the conventional methods, and now we're where we're at. So there's there are two ways to look at something.
Right.
Without going into details, that's two ways.
The board put the fiscal officer in a position.
We didn't do anything.
No, we didn't.
Come on, now, let's get that straight. We never,
Yes, you
you
did.
sent the restraining order to Mark Herwick. I got the email.
I don't know why you
okay?
keep bringing up.
I'm just saying, there's a restraining order,
Situation.
and their law department says that they're actually following the law, and until they get another order lifting the previous order, they are. You went on there, I actually talked with Mark today, okay? So,
Okay.
don't say that we did anything, it is all you.
Matter of fact, in a previous meeting, maybe 2 meetings back, you said you had a letter from your attorney saying that things had changed, and we asked for that letter. Have you supplied that letter to us? Did you get a letter?
Yeah, anything, all I need is a court order lifting the previous orders.
Well, all I know is that attorneys and they're, I don't get,
You're delving into attorney client.
there's certain things that are, can be shared, certain things that can't, but that is the cozy thing. We need to get it done, and I need to find out. I mean, right now would be a great time for you to tell me what I gotta do. And when the state auditor says that what we did at our last meeting was adequate, you're not paying penalties or fees, you're paying the bill less $1,000. And the-
Actually, that's not, you're asking for me to pay penalties and fees in the lawsuit. So
That doesn't have anything to do with paying this month's premium. Eventually, we're gonna end up having to pay, and that probably won't happen under your guideline here. I mean, lawsuits take a while, and
You don't got months to sit here and let it
if you can't
fester.
tell me what I need to do, I don't wanna go back into another lawsuit to force you to pay the bill, because that's.
And I
Can
don't
I
think the
ask
residents
why-
are gonna like that either.
why was that correspondence from the law director of Medical Mutual, why wasn't that passed on before the meeting? Why, we should have been able to have correspondence with her right away so that perhaps she could have done what she did.
That wasn't done because we were of the assuming you were gonna follow the protocol that was set before us, which was pay the premium less the discrepancy.
But she,
That was what she said. You chose not to do that.
that was
And at
what
the
she,
meeting, we agreed to pay the bill, and you said, but the board has to write a letter to Medical Mutual establishing that. In the
actually,
meantime,
I explained that was because I had reached out to her under the recommendation of my attorney, because she had not sent that letter for December. If your attorney knew that she had already communicated with him and he did not let you know, then that's malpractice. If you knew, if you had that, and you didn't communicate it to me, there's a problem.
I was asked by you to get a letter written. I got the letter written. In the meantime, I talked to my attorney, or our attorney, told him that what we were doing to try to get that check paid. And he reached out to her and or had something in second, because I figured the next thing you do is, okay, I got your letter, now I need her letter. And I'm trying to get the bill paid. That's all I'm trying to do. And every time we turn around, you're trying to find a reason not to pay the bill.
And I feel like every time I turn around, the board is putting me in a situation where I have to do something that's not lawful.
But
And
we
that's
gave
not
you a way out.
okay.
The state of Ohio auditor gave you a way out, and you're not taking it.
I guess, you know how you guys keep saying it's a matter of perspective? I think it's a matter of perspective, because I read that email and I didn't read it the way you are.
It's not even an email, it's an example. But go ahead and let's move on. I can't even stand this anymore. These people wanna talk about something
No,
important.
I know.
They came here to talk
And
about
we're
something.
gonna get to them. You paid 2 bills so far,
Well, I
right?
paid one, cause it was together by
But
time.
if we divided it by two, can't you just do that and then it'll be what the price of one would be?
But, well, I mean, it wasn't the right cost, so.
What was
But no, take it, I'll take money.
Whatever you pay, they're gonna
Gonna take.
proceed
So
it,
if you
and whatever
divide that
we go
by
beyond that, they're gonna
two
let us know.
and pay that
Right.
half, I think they'll put them off a little while longer for us.
They gave us an amount, $906 or something. and we're
So
gonna
you,
handle
that's,
it.
okay, so you're right,
You
the
know,
board
the-
did,
The exact amount isn't really necessary, the point is, you were given an amount, it was paid, and why, if you paid two, even though it was one payment, how come you can't pay this one?
because I was able to take off an exact amount that they gave me and then assign, that gave me a new total. And then I was able to assign every single dollar amount in the UAN. Have you ever looked at one of those checks, Bruce? There's probably.
Should I get an exact amount, is that what
Yes,
I'm hearing?
that's what yes,
If I'm hearing you tell me that I need to get medical mutual
to give an
to
exact.
give an exact amount, and then an amount to discrepancy, you'll pay that come hell or high water.
As long as it doesn't exceed the employee's authorized amount out of their paycheck, yes. Their 15% cannot be more, so.
Which employee are we talking about? All the employees or just?
Well, we're still gonna take the $1,000 off
Right.
for
Right.
said employee and his spouse. After that, everything else should be standard.
Yeah,
I'll do my best to try to get it, but
that's,
appreciate
and
how
that
you
is
work
what I
on it.
talked to Barb about too, so. That's,
Next up.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. Okay, we're gonna move on.
Might wanna get started.
Bank discussion.
Take this right down for last. We don't wanna do that.
I'll do whatever I can to make it happen, so.
Well, I mean, it's like, don't want to pass on it, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
Whatever it takes to get it paid, that's what makes sense. Next item.
The next item is bank discussion.
so, I think I already mentioned that there was charges on our bank account that I've asked Josh Eberts if he initiated them, I can't get an answer from him, so.
Josh had zero access to bank accounts.
Well, he had access to paychecks though, and and that's who the charges are from, so they're electronic. And
So you're saying you reached out to Josh Evans.
I did,
Did you CC anybody else in those?
I don't remember if I did or
Yes.
not,
Probably
but you
should.
were, I did, oh yeah, I think I did, yeah. I think we were all CC'd.
I'm not that remember.
I know Medina Township was, cause I always CC Medina
Doug was
Township.
too, because he made a response in it.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, this was a while back.
I agree.
So, I got a response, but it was very snarky and it did not give me an answer. So all I needed was an answer. And so we went back and forth a couple times and I could tell I was clearly just not getting a yes or no, but, so, I did make a fraud complaint. The bank initiated that with the Paychex's bank. They at first returned it as like an untimely, they didn't wanna give the money back, obviously, but.
How much money are we talking?
Well, it netted, cause it was 3 different transactions, so it was like $356 and change. Where they went in and like credited our account, then withdrew the same amount of money, and then withdrew like 186 some dollars. And it was,
all paychecks.
yeah, and it was on like it wasn't with our payroll, like, so I couldn't, there was no rhyme or reason for it, there's no reports to go along with it, so, I don't know. This is just going on, just, the PNC issue that we talked about, that has been going on
This is
since,
the one where I was supposed to go to the bank, but you were gonna give me some information to go to the bank with. I never
Well-
got that information from you.
so that's what I'm getting back to, because I've been going.
But we wanted to do that last year, that's why I said I'd go there on Saturday.
Well, so you were supposed to go there back in 2020. I went in and signed the card, okay?
How much? A week ago.
No, I'm telling you what happened, Chuck.
Okay,
So-
I just didn't know I was going to 2020 all of a sudden.
Well, this was done back in 2020. I changed the signature cards because that's what I have to do when a new trustee comes in. I did it. You obviously just never made it up to the bank, whatever. I mean, it was a long time ago, right? But they're there waiting for you, okay? I mean, but the bigger problem with PNC is that, you know, that charge that we've been getting every month for a checking account that we are supposed to, it's a free checking. And they're charging us like this corporate analysis fee that keeps us for government, and we shouldn't be being charged that. So I finally got past the local person, cause when you call the 800 number, they tell you to go to the local branch, but finally got a hold of somebody who is working to get all that reversed and get this taken care of
When you
for
get
us.
time, not now, but would you mind sharing that with me in case this goes on beyond our time together? I'll be able to,
It cannot, because we cannot close out the year like this.
But you said it's moving forward now, so.
Yes,
Are you
like
having email correspondence with them? or-
email and phone. I had a really long, I was on the phone with them
I would
for
like
an
to
hour
have-
today.
The email correspondence.
That's fine, but I don't, like, try not to get, you know, put your 2 cents in because you
I don't
don't
put my
really know
2
what's
cents in
going
it.
on, so it would be better if you just let, you know, right now, like, he's working on it, so. Well, here's the thing, if this does it every month on the bank rec, if you've noticed, it's been a carry forward of a deflating bank error because the state says don't show that as a payment, because it really wasn't, a payment, it was a problem with the bank. And so I can't do the December bank rec with deflating bank errors though. I have to be, and you can't close out the year without doing the December bank rec. So this has to be rectified. This is
Right, so it sounds like you're working on it.
So you don't need stuff to do anything.
well, I mean, Chuck should get up there to sign the card, you know, because we want, once this is done, we wanna close that account, and you're gonna have, like, legally to sign the check. But you're on the card, you just haven't signed it.
I see it. I mean, the PNC Bank was the one that's in the Buellers too back then, right? Because I went into Buellers and signed cards there. In fact, I actually had to have somebody else go with me because, you know.
Well, then the local branch never submitted it to corporate.
All right, but you're taking care of that part, so this, I'll ask.
you gotta sign a card and you gotta stay moving forward with them.
All right.
Okay.
And Westfield has had, ever since Chris left, there have been they've been charging us fees every single month, and they've been going back and reversing them, but it's something that I've had to stay on top of it. It's really become a problem, so I would suggest, I don't have time to do this, but I would suggest really keeping your eye on that, because it's just something that the fiscal officer doesn't deal with on a monthly basis, that's just too much,
So we're done with this then? Okay. Next topic is, I, Bruce Christopher, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of Medina Township, Ohio, hereby attest that pursuant to section 505.64 of the Ohio Revised Code, at its meeting on January 4, 2023, the board reviewed the credit card account transaction detail for each account listed below for the dates December 7, 2023 through January 3rd, 2024, as provided by the fiscal officer. The credit card accounts are E and H, Ace Hardware, Home Depot, Lowe's, PNC, Staples, Tractor Supply, and Walmart. Yeah, sort of, we're not there yet. Don't worry about it.
Just call them out.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Okay, so, Denny,
Department head comments.
department head comments?
A week or so ago, we got an email about not spending no money. Are we allowed to spend money yet? I had an issue with the, water leak yesterday, and I had to spend money out of my own pocket.
The purchase order list just got turned in, so I have to get them in.
Really, we don't have nothing from last year, nothing carried over.
Blankets can't be used for, in the next year, they expire.
But what about purchase orders? Do you have any purchase orders?
So when can we
Well, to,
start spending money, is my question.
to what? Like,
That would have been a blanket.
yeah, and that's, the only thing blankets can be used for is
He
money
just
that
needs
was
to know about how
spent.
long or when he'll be able to.
I'm not buying no more parts out of my pocket, I'll just put it there.
I mean, you know, nor should you have to, but, I mean, it's, when I,
But thank you.
You'd
I'll
be
say
cold-
thank you.
You'd be cold if I didn't fix it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, when I can get them in, that, I guess, is gonna be the next thing on the list, but I'll have, you know, shuffle things around, I mean, there's,
If you get in a situation, Denny, call me, we'll keep our receipts and we'll make the adjustments accordingly.
yeah, they'll be dated.
Well, I just don't wanna screw my vendors.
No.
Yeah, no, but they'll be dated,
I want them to be paid.
as long as they're correct, you know, they're not, they don't exceed the amount appropriated, they'll be dated, days, dated.
Dated for 2024.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. That's all I got.
Elaine?
Chief?
Oh, sorry.
No comment, Mr.
No
Chairman.
comments? Elaine?
I did have something, Medina Stretch Lab is a new business and they're gonna have a grand opening. She called me today, it's just a little heads up, it's not till February 2nd, but I need to kinda find out who's available for the ribbon cutting. All of you, one of you,
You have to email me so I can review the thing.
yeah, she has the date, but she's kinda leaving the time up to you guys, she's thinking morning, but what's.
I'm just
good-
happy to see they're fine.
Yeah.
It's been a long
Yeah.
process.
She's
Which
real
group is
excited,
this?
The
so-
stretching company?
Stretch Lab, Medina Stretch Lab, it's over by FedEx,
Next to FedEx.
so,
February 2nd's a Friday?
yes, it's a Friday.
Also, Elaine, I was at the county planning commission meeting yesterday,
Okay,
and they said on the 18th, which I know it's a trustees meeting in
okay,
January, but there's like a zoning workshop for Lafayette, or in Lafayette or something like that they're doing. And they recommended that zoning board members, especially newer members, might be interested in that, so
oh, okay,
I can email, or you can email Denise,
I'll get with her,
but that's, you know, cause she had asked me about it, and I was like, well, it's a trustees meeting, and she goes, yeah, but not a zoning meeting, so.
right, okay.
And I know we're always looking for stuff to
So,
train, so.
yeah, I'll touch base with you, thanks, that's it.
Think that wraps that up? Thank you very
I'll be
much.
there. Just keep me posted.
Okay, cool.
We'll move on to new business. And the first thing in new business is approval of the department inventory list. And let's see how many are in here. Is there just one?
Now there should
There's
be,
a sheet on top.
Yeah,
Just read this.
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion to approve the following Medina Township inventory list for 2024 as presented. Administration, 6-page, Service Department, 4 pages, Police Department, 14-page, Fire Department, 23 pages.
Are you doing that by resolution?
Pardon?
Are you doing that by resolution?
Yeah, well, you want it as a resolution, it was a
Was it done?
motion.
This is done by motion, was
I
it?
didn't see
Okay,
anywhere.
I just
yeah,
don't
as long
think
as usually that's kind of motion.
Second,
Second?
roll call?
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Alright.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye. thank you on those inventories, that's a lot.
Yep, everybody that went through it, I know it was a lot of work, thank you. Well done. Next item is the resident noise complaint discussion. And so I'd like to open it up to the residents that are here, like to speak. I don't know.
Can I have a quick?
Yeah, you can kind of.
I just wanted to thank the residents that submitted some information, and I'm assuming that's you. You and I spoke, and I tried to convey that earlier, that anytime there's concerns in a township, you can't imagine how much we appreciate somebody that does the legwork that you did, rather than just coming out and saying blah. You went way above and beyond, and I did finally, it took some time today, but I got through everything you submitted, and I would invite you, if you would like to share what.
I don't know, there's what, 5, 6 people here. I don't know who wants to speak, but.
Just
I
state
put
your,
it together, so.
yeah, just state your name and
You have to-
address
yeah,
for the record.
stand up, state your name and address.
Did you by chance sign it? I know-
Yes, I signed it.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Wow. Based on what I just witnessed, first time I've been to a township meeting. Good evening, trustees, Christopher Johnson and Eastwood. My name is Dave Shaneline. I live at 2952 Pine Hill Drive. I've been a township resident for 48 years, 34 on Pine Hill and 14 years on Hamilton Road. I'm here with my wife, Karen, my neighbor to the east, Mike Asher, unfortunately. And my neighbor to the southeast, which is John and Lisa Burke. My property is adjacent to Asher's on Pine Hill, and John and Lisa's property fronts on Nichols and runs behind our properties on Pine Hill. The three of us have a lot in common. We're either retired, semi-retired, or close to retirement. We've all in the prior years, we've all invested a lot of money in our properties to upgrade them and rehabilitate our houses. And the other thing that's common is we all made the decision, instead of moving south, we're going to spend our retirement years in Medina Township. And one reason for that is we like it here. We like the solitude and tranquility of our properties and where we're located. But this all came to an end this fall with new neighbors on adjacent to John on Nichols Road. The new neighbor's property runs roughly 1,000 feet off Nichols, behind, adjacent to John, up against my property. All of a sudden, the new neighbors came with dirt bikes. We had almost every weekend this fall, starting after school, we had dirt bikes running, and Saturday and Sunday, intermittently from anywhere to 2 to 4 hours. The noise was unreal, ear splitting, and it's like living next to a NASCAR racetrack. On Sunday, October 1st, things came to a head. I wanted to watch the Browns game in our outdoor pavilion next to our lake, which has a television, furniture, etc. Beautiful day, 80 degrees, and at approximately noon, dirt bike started. So I went next door. First, I talked to the kids. Why are these bikes so loud? Basically, their comment was, they're just loud. I asked them if they modified the mufflers. They gave me a run around, said something about, well, they have a spark arrestor. My guess is they probably removed the baffle plates inside the mufflers. Don't know that, but that's my guess because they're so loud. I asked them to talk to the father, and I walked to Nichols Road and talked to Matt. Basically didn't get anywhere. Comment is, this is my property, do what we want. We moved here so we could ride dirt bikes. The other thing I did, I invited Matt to come down to my house and listen how loud they were. His house sits way up by Nichols. I'm down in the bottom with John. And I said, you can't believe how loud these bikes are. He declined. I was frustrated. I left and I walked down to Burke's house. I had a hard time getting a hold of Lisa. John knocked on the door numerous times with all the noise, and finally Lisa came to the door. Lisa, what do you think of all this noise? She says, you know why I'm wearing headphones? I said, no. The bikes are so damn loud that she's wearing headphones in her house. Went home, shut the windows, closed the door, watched the Browns game. Later on, John took a video of the dirt bikes. I talked to the owners approximately noon. John took the video roughly, I think it's stamped date, but roughly 3-4 o'clock. And the bikes had run all that time, and it was almost like it was retaliation because I asked them to tone it down. I sent the trustees the movie of what John recorded. I'm hoping you listened to it. Do you think I should show it to the crowd? I have it on my iPad. It's 1 minute long. Remember, we're listening to these dirt bikes for anywhere from 2 to 4 hours at a time. You notice the bikes are so loud that the glass is vibrating. Imagine listening to that for 2 to 4 hours at a time. Anybody wants to see it, I'll send it to them. And what you're hearing is the kids are spinning their tires, revving their bikes, and their mufflers are creating that loud crackling sound.
How old are these kids, roughly?
15 and 12.
15 years old.
So they're gonna be there for a while.
Yes.
I have a baby now too.
The next week, I started doing some research on dirt bikes. Went on the internet and found that this problem exists across the country. We're not the only township or city or whatever with this problem. I also researched the Ohio Revised Code and their language concerning control of internal combustion engines and mufflers. On Saturday, November 4th, we had another beautiful day. And Karen and I wanted to watch Ohio State football in our pavilion. 11 o'clock, they kicked in again. I called the Medina Township Police Department, filed a complaint with Officer Ubinski. He called me back. First comment I didn't appreciate, he said they're just blowing off steam. Well, that's nice. In subsequent conversation with the police department concerning, I think it was Cliff Nicholson and Detective,
Boiler,
yeah, Willer.
Michael,
I pushed them, and I pushed hard for them to do something with the dirt bike noise and using Ohio Revised Code 2917 disorderly conduct, which says, no person shall recklessly cause inconvenience to another by making unusual noise. I pushed that. I said, the law exists. You don't need anything else. They took it to the prosecutor, and also I gave him the tape that John made. Approximately 2 weeks later, it came back to me. You'll have to file a civil lawsuit if you want to do anything. Because the township does not have a sound ordinance. I think the police chief will back me up on this. You can't do anything. The township has to have a sound ordinance for the police department to enforce any noise regulations. And that's included essential information, Ohio Revised Code 50517.
what I'd like to do is, I thought about this since we met earlier this week. I'd like to go down there myself this weekend and talk to the owner. He may blow me off, whatever, but I'd like to give it a shot and talk to him and, see if, some common sense, because if we pass a sound ordinance, it doesn't affect two people or that household, it affects 9,500 other people. And so I'd rather go down and see, and explain to them what it can mean, because if we do pass something, then it will affect them. And then they will be shut down. So I'd like to just go there and talk to them,
Well,
and see what they say.
I'd like to finish, I'm not quite
I'm
done.
sorry.
The other thing he gave me the sound resolution that was passed by Mountville Township in 2006. And what that regulation says, if you read everything, is it regulates internal combustion engines and their exhaust systems and their mufflers. It's the first thing it regulates. The second thing it regulates is that the semi braking system, commonly called Jake brakes. I don't know if we have that problem here, but that language is in there. And the third thing it generates it regulates sound systems, such as a band, musical instruments, etc. That's all it regulates.
Mm-hmm.
It does not regulate gunfire, the noise from gunfire, which I think some township people would have an issue with, and it does not regulate fireworks. All it regulates is the three things. One other thing I did is I bought a sound meter, and it's not knowing, I couldn't vouch for the accuracy of it. I didn't pay that much for it, but I did take my mower, 23 horsepower commercial, 0-turn mower, throttled it up all the way, did some readings at 50 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet. Did the same thing with my leaf blower. And I was able to catch on November 4th the bikes. It's hard to get close to them, they're always moving, but I did get some readings in up around 90 decibels. So what that told me was the reason these dirt bikes are so annoying, they're almost twice as loud as a mower or a backpack blower. The other thing I found out, I was on the internet one night and found a website in Pennsylvania that was advertising dirt bike motocross racing. And they started talking about their sound police. I said, what are they talking about? So I read into it. If I take my dirt bike to Pennsylvania and race on a racetrack, I have to go through a sound test, a maximum sound test, before they'll let my bike in the track. And the readings they talked about, 25 feet, 72 decibels before you can race your bike. So the industry regulates their dirt bikes when they have an issue, but they could care less of what happens when it's personal property. In summary, I'm requesting that the trustees adopt a sound resolution so that the Medina Township Police Department can enforce these simple, common sense noise resolutions. We need this done this winter. If the bikes aren't running out, it's not a problem. We need this done this winter, so this spring when they kick in, the police department can do something. This all takes time. It has to be posted for 30 days in the township, and it has to be published in the local newspaper for 3 weeks. I worked in the highway industry in Northeast Ohio for 42 years. We don't deserve to have this racket behind our house in our retirement years. We paid our dues, paid our taxes. We raised 4 kids. We need the township to do something about it. Please take this sincerely, and Mr. Christopher, I talked to the owner, John has talked to them, Lisa has talked to them, and the police department has talked to them. We need something on the books. You know, this has been going on in the township for a long time. These 3 homes are retirement homes. We can't live there with this racket and the rest of our lives. We're not going anywhere. Please take this in consideration.
Thank you. Very serious. I mean, I'm not blowing you off.
Thank you very much for tolerating the evening to get to a point where you could present, and all of you that came. And,
Before you go on, what David, what, yeah, Mike Hasher,
Next door to him. Your address?
2934, I did sign in as well. The work that Dave did here is way above and beyond. There's not much to talk to these people about, okay? Well, Dave is retired. I'm just about this far away, okay? And he's exactly right. There's a huge investment in staying right here in Medina Township. We love it here, okay? And hey, I understand having boys. They want to go out there, they want to have fun. I understand it, okay? But they're not paying the taxes. The parents are, okay? And we are. If it was in your backyard, you'd act on it really quickly, okay? This is an intolerable situation, and I would do the same thing. I would ask that you act rather than not act. I think Dave has put out forth some good legislation in our neighboring township that can make it easy to act. I'm not sure about, Dave has done the work on the disturbing the peace, and Chief, I don't know how that works for you, if that's the way it is, the way he's said it.
I have to talk to the prosecutor's office regarding that, and see if that would even classify as discord.
I don't think it does.
Officer, or Cliff Nicholson called me back and said it didn't classify as disorderly per the prosecutor.
I will.
That's what I was
I will
told.
get a written opinion after the prosecutor has to fall within. Usually they have additional consequences first, he asks him to leave, he doesn't wanna leave, he starts arguing with you, then you got disorderly conduct. I've never heard of a disorderly conduct charge on something like noise. I could be totally wrong,
Well, that's what it says, in plain language, that's what it says.
but I had to see if it's gonna be enforceable by the prosecutor. I want to make sure it's enforceable by the prosecutor.
Would you also please then, in doing this, could you consult the sheriff? I mean, the sheriff's a constitutional sheriff, right? He can come here above and beyond anybody else,
Correct.
okay? And if you would, if you'd have a, maybe the answer's the same, right? But if you would do that, I think that would be very beneficial.
If we pass a noise resolution,
Yeah.
okay, and then we go out there on a situation like this, okay, and then we cite them for disorderly conduct, I wanna make sure the prosecutor's office is going to prosecute.
Sure.
That's what I wanna make sure of, so I want a written opinion from the prosecutor's office on a situation. I've never actually done it.
You won't be prosecuting under disorderly if you have a sound ordinance.
Right.
You'd be prosecuting under the same Ohio Revised Code that applies to public highways, noise on public highways. That's what the Montville Township ordinance references. It references Ohio Revised Code that pertains to the highway.
All I'm saying is I wanna make sure that I have a written opinion from the prosecutor's office that this is going to be an enforceable law.
We would engage with them anyway
All right.
to take what
That's
you,
fair enough.
what you
That's all you
have
can ask.
and incorporate it for Medina Township. After the meeting, I got your email, of course. Can you give me yours and then we can stay in touch as we progress through this? As far as being able to just give you updates as we go. That
Yeah,
was-
I think Dave's point on timeliness is also,
I understand.
there's some timely issues here too that, I mean, yeah, it's January. You know,
I'm here.
30 days, it's middle of February.
Chuck, you were in office, right, when there was that neighborly, well, the dogs, yes, with that, but that was before, I'm talking about the snow blower guy. Remember when the neighbors came in
Yeah,
and,
it was a girl, wasn't it?
yeah, the guy was the one who
4 a.m. or
was
something like that.
doing the snow blowing.
The
and
neighbor was complaining
and the
because
woman and
the
her
woman
son
snowed
showed up.
blowered at, the middle of the night.
It was, yeah.
And they were asking for the same thing, so we have some research on that already. So maybe just a jump start, you know,
The other thing is, this is not commercial, right? This is rural residential zone.
yeah.
Well, that's,
Right?
yeah, I mean, that's gonna, I'm just envisioning ideas, and again,
Sure.
you got a guy who's owns 7 acres, he moved out to rural Medina because they like bikes, and, you know,
I got-
and
I got
understand that part, 'cause I mean, I have a motorcycle.
I
and-
got it.
My neighbor up on the hills, Rick's got remember that rail buggy? I mean, that thing was absolutely crazy loud.
Yeah.
So I feel for you, I know exactly what it is. So we'll look into it and we'll do our due diligence, you know, and we'll see what we can do. But it is definitely a process.
One thing you're gonna run into, his lot is 300 feet by 1,000 feet. And he made the comment to the police department that, oh, we're riding on the other side of the property. Doesn't make any difference, it's only 300 foot wide. John's house is right on top of it.
Right.
He's the one that is getting the bulk of it. The sound is shooting across his lake, it's shooting across our lake, but his house is the closest.
We literally close all of our doors and windows and we still can't hardly hear the TV.
Yeah, nuts.
It is,
Very
I
loud.
agree. We'll look
You
into
can't
it, we
use your
appreciate
gavel.
you
You
coming,
can't
and
talk
we
and
know it's gonna be a
talk.
process, but I don't think it's right, and we'll see what we can work with the neighbor, and then we'll look at what we can do with
And when
the
people
exhaust
reference,
being modified and everything, so.
Yeah.
yeah, when people reference talking to prosecutor's offices are legal. That's why people talk about, we have to talk to the prosecutor first or whatever.
All right, well,
Thank you.
well, hold on, wait, we can just go into public comment.
Okay, leave it for public comments?
Surely.
That's. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go to public comments. We'll make a motion to go to public comments. Anybody, second? Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Now in public comment.
Anybody else?
Please raise your hand, state your name and address.
Jeff Johnson, 3920 Huffman Road. Wonderful presentation. That gentleman right there, our treasurer, is also my class president. We've known each other for over 50 years. So we go around. I've been in Medina Township for 40 plus years. My only comment is this. This man over there, the police chief, has done an unbelievable job pulling us together. Great job, great police. Can't say enough about him. However, the man has got a gun with no bullets in it. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. We heard from you, everybody else, what we can't do, what the prosecutor can't do. Had the same situation right down here, quarter of a mile, right behind me. I've got the policeman come over, talk to him, louder than can be at 10 o'clock at night. He comes around the corner to tell me, nah, they calmed down, they just blowing off steam. Right in front of him. He went over, talked to him. I've got everything on from his body cam, whatever you call that, cop cam, like that, and talking about that. Same thing, says, we have the same thing with some zoning issues. I apologize. I'll bug you for a long time. I'll clean it up. The same thing. There's nothing we can do, is all we hear. The prosecutor, nothing we can do. Can't we help that man and help other people come up with what we can do? If you pass this, we could stop that. Or if you would enforce this, we could stop it. Too many people here, busting their butts to make the township nice. And you know what the common thread is too? Not that just that nothing we can do. Bill Batchelor used to say it. He talked to people from Cleveland. He said, we like Medina County. And he says, and, hey, we want to come down. He says, come on down to Medina County. Leave Cleveland up there. The exact same words that you heard came from my neighbor right over there. We got thrown out of North Worthington for doing this, so we came down here. We can do whatever you want to do.
That's true, that's what I've heard
So, am I giving you solutions? No, I'm not that smart. But can we somehow get somebody to stand for the governance, for the people that are standing for us? You're trying. I appreciate all your helps. I couldn't do your job. Thank you for being up there. Let's hope that man put bullets in his gun to not only preserve what we have, what's left, but, that's it.
He's not Barney Fife. He doesn't look like Barney.
He's talking to me, he means me. There's the guy. It's Tom Craig. He lives on the street. When I was outside that building, I love our police chief, thank you very much for all you're doing. But let's come up with a solution, not all we can't do. That ship has sailed, that's all.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? State your name and address.
Mike Asher, 2934 Pine Hill Drive.
In case you moved.
But the recording doesn't know who you are, so.
What I just witnessed tonight is disgusting. Is disgusting. Okay? Sir, I don't know you. I don't know anything about you.
Well, why you?
From a rule of order perspective, from a private business perspective, I'm assuming you're an assistant to Ms. Ventura. I don't know any details. It doesn't matter to me. But how you allow an assistant to come into this meeting when you have department heads here who know their responsibilities and their place in this process, to disrupt this meeting like this, you guys have to get control of that. We elected you. We elected you, Angela. Okay? Okay. No? You're not elected?
Well, she is until.
She was.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yes.
So we elected you, right? So you answer to us, all right? Get control of your meeting. Okay? the arguing, there's no place for that. Do your jobs. You're here, and we're here to listen of how you're doing your jobs and conducting business for Medina Township, representing us, the people who are paying you. Yes, you're all residents, right? So it's not, there's nothing personal here. This meeting was a disgrace. Heck, if I were the person from Medical Mutual, I'd watch the recording and I'd say cancel their insurance. I don't want to deal with this. I'm sitting here and I feel like pulling out money out of my pocket and saying, just pay the damn people already.
Amen.
Okay, come on. You should look out for our money. You should be diligent. You should look out for paychecks and PNC. Those are good things. Communicate it to everybody. This should work as a team. I know it doesn't, okay? I read the news every now and then. I know it doesn't. But plain and simple, I dealt with paychecks for years. Do they make errors all the time? You're damn right they do. Does PNC like to charge fees for something that they shouldn't? Yep, they do. They do. And so do a lot of other banks. You gotta work it out, guys. You can't have a meeting like this. I hope this is not typical of previous meetings.
Whenever Angela's here, that's the way it is.
All right, well, the only other thing I would ask is that, can I ask the chief something?
Sure.
We have lots of rural roads here, right? And most of us live on a rural road. We're right off of Nichols. Well, you know, it's interesting how the delivery drivers can park on our rural roads.
Absolutely.
And this is so dangerous,
It is.
okay? Now, you can't be everywhere with your team. But honest to goodness, it's so dangerous. There's only two types of accidents here. Head-ons and T-bones. And both of them are ugly. And these drivers that are sitting there just on a hill, I mean, it's so dangerous, and I don't know if you can do anything. I don't know what those laws are, or the regulations are, but for the sake of the residents here, for the safety of the residents here, I mean, we'll all drive on those roads. Heck, it's dark at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yep.
If there's something you can do,
If you see it, any resident sees it, please call us. We'll go out there, especially if it's a safety hazard, we'll remove it.
yeah.
Go there for a couple minutes.
I mean, it's so bad. I've said when I've had somebody else in the car with me, I said, just stop the car. I'm going to go out and just move the van down the street.
I have also contacted Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and their attorney called me back and said they do not allow the drivers to back into the yards. They will not do it.
Oh, don't come up to my yard.
So, and then, then I also told them too, I said, so if one of your drivers causes an accident, because of the way he was truck got killed someone, or, someone coming up the hill to see him, and something, that, your liability is you. But that is their policy to do that.
But there's a lot of lawn care companies too, especially
lawn
on
care
the
does
roads,
it too.
very dangerous.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. There's a lot of it's banned, right? It's one thing when we on your street or my street, they're more than happy to move right into the driveway, pull all the way up the 300-foot driveway, so they don't have to walk.
But if you're on Nichols, and especially when you're coming up the hill and they stop, and you can't see who's coming up on the other side.
It's dangerous. If you've already heard this, obviously. So
Yeah, actually.
All right, guys, I keep moving.
okay,
Yep, okay, thank you.
thank you.
The next close.
No, I haven't.
Good night. For coming.
Hello. Jessica Myers, 3320 Remsen Road, Township resident. I agree with the other resident that watching this is an absolute dumpster fire. But what I would like to point out first is this young man sitting in the front row. And this young man represents the children of our township. And the children of our township are very safe, in large part because we have a great police force that does their job and keeps them safe. We will not have that if we continue to screw around with people's payroll and their health benefits. So ultimately, this child and his friends and his neighbors in the township is gonna be the one that suffers. That's the long game, and you had mentioned that the township suffers as a whole. The township will suffer as a whole. But this generation will suffer the greatest because of the things that we're messing up now. As a business owner, I also use Paychecks. I also use Cozy. I also use Medical Mutual. I have a designated representative for Paychecks and Medical Mutual and Cozy who get back to me within 24 to 48 hours with any and every question. And I know as a business owner, I have a full breakdown of what the cost is per employee by age, by spouse, by child. So I expect to show up at the next meeting and find all of this resolved because these are solvable problems. Next issue, I'm not sure how things work with an assistant here amongst the township, but for myself, I have a designated list of responsibilities. I monitor those responsibilities and their productivity in getting it done. And I also monitor their hours. They're not allowed to just do what they want when they want. So I hope that all of this information gets sorted out as, this process gets ironed out. But I think I can agree with everyone else here. We do not ever want to hear that our safety forces are being withheld payroll for any excuse. Because as elected officials, everyone up here on this board has taken an oath to serve this township. And you should uphold that oath even if circumstances dictate that you're not going to be here after April. You want things to go well because ultimately we want this township to be a place where my generation and my daughter's generation say, I live in Medina Township because it's safe and it's great and I love it. And we won't continue to have these things if people can't get their prescriptions or go to the doctor or their coverage is declined or they don't have money in the bank. I mean, this fellow's paying to fix the boiler, which we are all enjoying, thank you, because things aren't approved and there's blankets and there has to be provisions for this. And that's why we look out to everybody here to make sure these things happen. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Go ahead.
I think it's time we call spade a spade. Our fiscal officer is not doing her job. She hasn't been doing her job for the last, how many months, years maybe. If the township trustees, they pay a note, pay a bill, it gets paid. It's not, no skin off of her nose. Comes to an audit, all she has to say is, I was told to pay the bill. I don't know why these bills are not being paid. It's silly. It's just another fight. And that's all she's here for, is the fight. And I'm tired of hearing her. She won't listen to anything the trustees tell her. She has her own opinion. She can tell you what the Ohio Revised Code says. And she's not an attorney. They can't figure it out. Luckily, we only have another 90 days to put up with her. 87 days.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I have to get this off my shoulder.
Name and type.
Okay, Dave Shane, line 2952, Pine Hill Drive. I gotta get this off my shoulder. I think, I'm not correct, my tax money pays all your wages? Am I correct?
Yes.
I work for a company, large highway contractor, anywhere between 500 and 1,000 employees. What I witnessed tonight is she would not last 5 minutes in the companies that I work for. Maybe 2 minutes at the most. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else?
Hi, Karen Fisher, 3495 Old Weymouth Road. I haven't been to one of these meetings for quite some time because I have classes on Thursday night. The most exciting thing at these meetings used to be, Denny, how much salt do you need this winter? So this is just like a lack of adulting going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel, Angela, that in your term, you have complied with the ORC for our township?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, that's fun to know, that's good to see. Because based on this, you have brought personal business into our township that should not be.
That's actually the opposite of what I've done.
Is there anybody else?
I'm Brian Barron, 3335 Myers Road. Just like Dave, I've spent 40 years in corporate environment, all levels of management. The first thing, I don't know what elected officials can or can't do, but taking work home, even though you have a work from home privilege, taking government documents out of this building, to me, sounds like a big issue. If you can't get it done between 9 and 5, then there's other issues. If you can't get a damn network connection that works, don't we have good Wi-Fi here, or connection, or direct cable? Same with the other garages. Why in the world would you take work home? And if spreadsheets are locked or on different computers, they can be password protected, so if other eyes may not need to see that stuff, but why would it leave this building? It doesn't make sense to me.
Just on the defense of the home office, that is something the Ohio Revised Code makes available, whether you agree with it or not. It is something that the Ohio Revised Code allows.
But our documents are at risk of computer failure. Is there a backup to the files?
First of all, it's a document I created. There wouldn't be a way to put this bill into the system had I not. The previous fiscal officer actually did it longhand. Like, she drew out a graph and did this document that probably took her 4 hours to put one bill in the system. So I will tell you that this is not something that the township even owns, the document.
Wait a minute. Whoa.
That's very-
Anything you do for this township, we own.
You just raised the risk.
We
Does that
own.
make it yours?
Data.
You work for the township.
Right, and I
You
created
made it
spreadsheet.
for the township.
That's not the way it works.
All right, I appreciate, but we wanna
Tone it down, yeah.
May I ask,
Please.
Jessica Myers, 3320 Remsen Road again. In this document, it contained in the spreadsheet that you made, was there any private health information since it was
No.
pertinent to?
No,
There was no personal information, nothing that needed to be protected?
no.
Well, I'm just curious only because like the spreadsheet can't be opened, the purchase orders went missing. We have a missing personnel file, a file for another gentleman that, according to the payroll laws that I have to follow, if a person quits, resigns, and is hired back on, I have to have a new personnel file. So things that are going missing, we need a better process. Because aside from a personal computer and a document that you made, if it doesn't contain private information, then I don't personally care. But if things are going missing and that's impacting how business is conducted, then
I 100% agree with you. That's been a problem here for a long time. I work from home. I do not work from Township Hall.
So is there an opportunity, if working from home, is there an opportunity to have a shared Google Drive where purchase orders are scanned in and logged into a folder that's secure? Or
If the purchase orders are, the requests go home, one copy goes home with me, one copy stays here. And then they come, once I issue them in the system, they come up here and they're stored in a binder. So
there's always two copies. You get one and one stays here.
yes, that's what Doug was separating.
But the ones that went missing before there were two copies?
No, there's a form that's generated from the UAN system, and that is what I brought up here after I issued that.
we've never seen it, so we don't know where they're at.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
Hey,
Mr. Garrett.
Ray Jarrett,
Stand up, Ray.
Road. I'm gonna sit.
Okay.
This is, in regards to Angela. I have a series of questions to ask you. On August 18th, there was a special trustees meeting. The minutes were prepared by Chrissy on August 28th of 2022. The minutes were edited by Angela on October 27th, almost 60 days later. The minutes were attested by Angela on January 5th of 2023. The minutes were approved by the trustees on January 5th of 2023. Why did it take so long to get from the time you edited them to the time you attested those minutes?
Because the board did not wanna approve them, they didn't like how they sounded.
All right. September 1st, 2022, trustees meeting. Minutes were prepared by Chrissy on September 8th. The minutes were edited by no one, meaning you. The minutes were attested by not you. But yet the minutes were approved by the trustees on June 8th of 2023. That's a long time period. Can you tell me why you did not edit those and why you did not attest those?
Yes, because I don't agree with the lack of content that's in them, so I wouldn't sign off on them, and they voted on them anyways.
And you don't have to sign off on them. The trustees can approve those minutes without your approval.
That's actually not true, but what is the point you're making, Ray?
I'm leading up to this.
Okay, well, okay.
I have the floor.
Okay, so
I have the floor.
Go ahead.
September 16th, there was a trustees meeting. Minutes were prepared by Chrissy on September 23rd. It took you till January 4th of 2023 to edit those minutes. That's an awful long time period. You attested those minutes the following day on January 5th of 2023. The minutes were signed by the trustees on 2023 of January. Why did it take you so long for those minutes?
Is your question done?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd have to go back and look when I got the minutes in the first place. There was a point where Chrissy sent me, I think, 16 sets of minutes at this, like, in one email. So I worked through them when I could, but there are priorities, and payroll always comes first. Then
From September to January, took you that long to
I don't
look at those minutes?
No, I think she sent them in like November or something. We'd have to look at the emails. I mean, we're talking like a year ago, right, or a year and a half. I mean, I can't tell you exactly.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but
Well, I don't need the benefit of the doubt.
well, I'm just stating, I'll
we
give
can
you
follow
the
it up
benefit of
in
the doubt,
email,
but
but
you did not receive them in a timely manner.
correct,
Okay.
yeah.
On September 1st of 2022, there was a trustees meeting. And you brought to the attention of the trustees, there was a past trustee on the current PNC account as a second administrator and a signer on the account. Who was that trustee, the past trustee on that account?
I don't remember. I mean, I probably, if you have the information, then probably just
Who was
say,
the first administrator
I know.
and signer on that account? So
I
you're the primary, and there was a secondary.
Yeah, I don't remember, Ray. We'd have to go back and look.
On September 22nd of 2022, you advised the trustees there were 2 electronic transfers of money to unknown vendors, possibly around $3,000. Now, there's a lot of rumors going around the township right now that there's theft
somewhere within this township of money,
Oh,
possibly theft.
that money was returned, those were just fraudulent charges, and that money was returned right away to our bank.
How did they get access to that account?
We don't know.
You're the primary administrator of that account.
Oh,
of
That
PNC.
happens, Ray, that happens, that's, people get a hold of a check and they hack into accounts, that happens all the time.
Okay, that's why I'm asking the question.
We had Westfield come in and do a presentation so that we made sure that they were monitoring our accounts closely. But I caught it the night it happened and put a transaction inquiry in there, so, I mean, I
So
don't know
was
what
that
you're
money
getting.
recovered?
What?
Was the money recovered?
Yeah, I just said that.
Just wanted to be clear on that. You're constantly moving CDs around, and there's nothing stated in prior minutes of the amount that's being moved.
I'm constantly moving CDs around?
Well,
What?
let me restate that. CDs are being moved around.
This is,
You
this is
never moved a
absurd.
CD.
I moved one CD
Okay,
one
you moved a
time in
CD.
8 years.
It was never stated what that amount was and what the interest rate was. Can you tell me why it was not stated in the minutes?
I think you'd have to actually ask the board why they're the ones who make motions. I don't make motions.
But you presented it to the board.
Well, so if they didn't read what was on what was presented to them, I can't.
How am I, as a public, not being at a actual meeting, to go back through the minutes and look at the minutes? I can't tell how much that CD was, what the interest rate was.
Well, Ray, you were a trustee for how many years? You would
It
know
has nothing to do with
on
what it
every
was.
single bank rec, you know that the CD amounts are listed. It's on every single month's bank rec. So
And how do
you
I
know-
get that when the last minutes were, let's see here. I believe the last set of minutes was back in November of 2022.
Well, you don't need minutes to get a bank
How
rec.
do I see those?
You
how
can
do I
make a
see the
public
things
records
that-
request, or if you want a CD amount, you can get it. I mean, I don't know, again, I don't know what you're
But the
getting at,
minutes
but,
reflect what transpires in a meeting.
okay, first of all, we have a resolution that the audio minutes are the official minutes of the township. Now, the secretary was supposed to be doing them and the outline of the minutes. The synopsis, yeah, I would have left a better word, sorry. So I don't know if you're trying to get on, that they're not being done in a timely fashion, I would agree with you. But I can't explain, I mean, Nick was fired, and then I don't you wanna like attack somebody in a public meeting,
I just wanna know why the minutes are not on the website, and if Christie's doing the
The
minutes.
minutes are
then
on the web.
Why do you have to sign off on them?
Ray, the minutes are on the website, the official minutes are on the website.
You go to the website and look, 2022 was the last time the minutes were on the
No,
website.
you're not hearing me, there's a resolution that states that the audio recordings are the official minutes of the township, and they are on the website.
How do I see the documents that are presented to the trustees if they're not on the website?
They're in town hall, you request them, or you come up and view them, like everybody else does.
The reality is that is something that is desperately needing addressed, and it will be addressed.
And I talked to you about
Yep,
that.
and you're not wrong, we gotta get back to written.
All right, Angela, this is my last item. On November 16th, I sent you a public records request asking for the most current appropriation status report for the month of November of 2023. I never heard from you a week
No,
later.
I responded.
Listen, never heard from you, so a week later, on the 22nd, I said, I'm sending the second request in case you didn't get my first request for the records. Then you responded from the 22nd to the November 27th saying, I've been out ill, your request has been received and sent to the prosecutor's office. Why did you send my request to the prosecutor's office?
Because we send records requests that need to be looked at to the prosecutor's office.
Who does the appropriation status reports?
I do,
Why did not I receive it?
because the report wasn't created and the answers to those kind of requests come from the prosecutor's office.
No,
Yes,
that should have been sent to me. Your appropriation status reports that you give to the trustees.
it didn't exist, Ray. I don't know what part of it.
Okay, here it is January, and I'm still waiting for that request from either you or the prosecutor's office.
There is not an appropriation status report for November. If you would like the December 28th report, you can definitely have
Why
that.
wasn't there one for November?
Because I just didn't create one for November.
Why?
Because there was no need to.
So there's no need for January to do one, or February, or July of 2024, if
I
you
don't,
don't feel
oh,
there's a
I
need?
don't know, I'm not a fortune teller.
Every
so
month, there
we'll see.
should be an appropriation status report.
That's not true.
Yes.
It depends.
How's the trustees are supposed to respond to line item budget if they don't have that in their hands?
I don't think you're understanding.
I don't think you're understanding either that
I certainly
those
understand.
reports from prior years, they've been out every month. Yes.
That's not necessarily true. I
Can
don't,
you back that up?
sure.
Sure, produce that then. Show me where,
Produce the lack of report?
yes. You're the fiscal officer.
Wait a minute, you're not even making sense right now,
You do
Ray.
the appropriation status reports, is that correct?
I do what? Say it again. I'm like,
You do the
I'm
appropriation-
dumbfounded by this.
You do the appropriation status reports.
I run the, yes, I
You're the
run
only
them.
one that can
Correct.
do that.
Correct.
And again, my question is, why was it not generated for the month of November?
Because again, I'll say it again, there was no need
feel
to
like it.
run that for November.
And can you
I
tell
told
me
you the
why
trustees requested
that
it.
need, there was no need?
As I explained on Friday, the electronic payments had not been put in yet, so it would have been not accurate, and I'm not going to put out something that's not accurate, that's all,
Having
John.
something rather than nothing would definitely.
No,
be
I
helpful.
disagree, so I wasn't gonna generate a report, that's
Then,
it.
the question is, then why didn't you state that in your email instead of saying it's being forwarded to the prosecutor?
Because the prosecutor's office has already told us if there's something that we're not releasing, then they wanna answer that request. So I sent it to them. Now, can
Could
you,
not
do you know
send
what,
that to me?
do you know what's more concerning? Is that I have sent that to the prosecutors for the third time, Ray, and there's no answer to that. That's what's concerning. Not that there's not a November report that didn't matter.
Okay, wait, we're gonna move on. We've got somebody else that wants to ask a question. So please stand up, state your name.
Eastwood, 3377 Foster Road. I'm curious to Mr. Flick there and Angela as to part of his new duties will be helping with minutes. And also, maybe taking up the gopher running.
Do what?
The gopher running that the trustees always have to do for you. Dropping off documents so that you'll actually get your job done or do the paperwork that needs to be done. They take it to your house for you because you don't want to come here and get it. So is he gonna do that now? I'd like to know. Many, many times you have these guys jumping through hoops to take you paperwork so that you can do your job correctly. I have on videotape someone doing that specifically on a holiday because you had to have it in order to get the bill paid, but you still didn't do it.
Oh my. You're like you're really upset.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
You're using these guys as your gophers, and I'm sick of it. They have life too. They have families.
Okay.
You think you're the only one, and so you wait up till 3 in the morning to get all your work done, and then you wonder why these guys don't answer an email at 4 a.m. Well, I wonder why.
Nobody has to answer answer an email at 4 a.m. What
No,
are you
but
talking
you make it
about?
urgent, everything's urgent. I want answers to my questions. Is he gonna help with minutes? Is he gonna start picking up the documents that you need
I
to do your
really
job?
think, if you say everything's marked urgent, I don't think
I
you're
said, answer my questions.
I'll probably be doing it some.
Wait a second.
You should be doing it all.
My goodness.
You're her
Wait a minute,
assistant. These guys should not have to run paperwork. Chrissy has a full-time job. She shouldn't have to run paperwork to you. It's ridiculous.
Well, actually, you know what, part of Chrissy's responsibilities are to help the fiscal officer, it's right in her job duties.
Then why are you paying her mileage to do that?
She has a township vehicle at her disposal, Rita.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay, is he gonna help with minutes? Get caught up?
He could.
Really? That's on tape.
But, I mean, we could discuss that, but then his hours would have to be increased, so. Oh, because right now we have somebody else hired to do them at, I think, 12 hours a week? I forget what she's approved to. So, I mean, we could definitely just change that over, that's not a problem at all.
I see. Okay.
Isn't that what you wanted to know? So I gave you an answer.
Yes, it is. Now if it actually happens, will be the true mark.
It could happen.
Yeah, because it'll probably be till after April, but that's okay.
No, I think we should talk about that. That's a good idea, right?
No, that could be in trust.
No, we're gonna talk about it.
Oh, I mean, you should.
That was public comment, that's what
That
it
was
was.
public comments. Actually, we normally don't even comment on the public comments.
Yeah, but
At any rate.
is it a good public comment that what could come from?
I know, it's a
You don't
great
wanna do it.
idea.
You don't have a place at this table, I want, you gotta be quiet, okay?
Boy, this is really orchestrated.
Well, it's not orchestrated, but we're gonna.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
Be sure and punch out.
Oh, I didn't punch in.
Good.
Thank you.
Tom,
I'm out of the
please
circle,
state your name and address again.
Griff Road. I have in my hand here, Facebook page of Angela Ventura, Medina Township Fiscal Officer. Okay, and it says, one of her duties is to provide trustees with reports monthly. Appropriation reports, revenue and fund reports, investment journal and fund stats. Anything else they would like to see. Okay, I have a suggestion. Why don't we hire 2 more assistants for her? One to do the work, the other one to watch what those other 2 are doing. End of story. She's not doing her job, she hasn't been doing her job for the last year and a half. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Ended on a pleasant note, Walt Klein, 4931 Nettleton Road. I live in a big house, 87 more days.
Nice to see you tonight, boss.
Thank you very much. Anybody else, public comments? I move to close the public comments. Okay.
Second, roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Alright.
We're gonna open trustee seats.
Oh, yeah.
Move to open.
No, you don't have to move.
Okay.
Okay, real
Trustees'
quick.
comments?
With Cliff Hawker, I have absolutely no problem with you hiring a fiscal assistant, okay? We've had him before and everything else. I just want you to follow the rules. He resigned, we need a new employee packet with this information. I also wanna know if he is doing public records requests, because it looked like an email was he was trying to fulfill a public records request. I wanna see his public records request training information, because that's required.
He doesn't even have an email, what do you
It
just
doesn't, don't even worry about the email, we saw it in email, okay?
I don't know.
So the next
How
thing
did you
is,
see something?
also,
He signed an email on your email account, and he responded to a public records request on your email account.
and then also, this is a trustees meeting. You see all my department heads over there, I think? Cliff Hunter is never to sit up at this seat. He will sit in the crowd with the other.
The assistant to the fiscal officer always sat in the seat.
I have never seen one there.
Celia, Nick, what are you talking about?
So, those are, but for him to interject and interrupt the trustees meeting is not his place. So like I said, I have no problem with it, but you gotta learn. And then the other thing too, with the employee packet, our policies and the employee handbook and everything, he needs to follow the online policies too, instead of making derogatory comments towards trustees and stuff like that on Facebook. And also, when I cross-referenced his hours that he was working, he was making derogatory comments on Facebook, because the time that the post was on Facebook and when the time that he was punched in corresponded to each other.
Would
And
you
that's
say
not-
that again?
I think you, I think you need to show me that, because if that's the case, there will be a problem. We specifically talked about that, and I was promised there would never be any Facebook activity whatsoever while he was on the clock. So please
But
show me
also,
that.
nobody's not on the clock making disparaging comments towards the township.
If he's an
and stuff.
employee, he can't be.
So-
No, absolutely, I totally agree, so please show me that.
He could be terminated for that.
But yeah, I have cross-reference it too. I mean,
I
out of all
have
I will say, out of all the comments that he makes a lot of them. I can only find one where it corresponds to the time that he was punched in, but that
Well,
cannot
there
happen.
shouldn't be any,
It shouldn't.
so.
Okay. All right, just that's all like I said, I don't have a problem working with them because we need help, but you need to use them and
But just-
don't use them maliciously. And we will figure out the compensation part and stuff like that too.
I need to see where there was a comment made on Facebook. I need to see that, because if that's the case, then we don't even need to move forward with anything else. So I need to see that, Chuck.
We will, I will look it up but I don't have it with me right this second.
Trustee Eastwood, do you have any comments?
I think that everything that I wanted to talk about has been covered.
And mine, I've got it started up here, and I said for Chrissy to get a packet for Mr. Hawkins, employee packet okay? So make sure he has that, because that is absolutely happening, in his file.
And cologne.
Pardon?
And cologne. He should not have started with the Can I just throw out two things at you real quickly? CBA contract. I talked to Chrissy about and Elaine, they were looking today, they tried to reach out to Chief Minnick and Detective Boiler. There is no place that contract with all the addendums are in one place. Jamie asked to see it, but nobody has it, not even the union, so I mean, it's.
I was here when you were corresponding with them, and I think that I will also reach out. Mike is sick today.
Yeah.
But
That's-
I will reach out there and see.
Yeah, that's just, and then Doug, I think you were copied on the email from Sedgwick. I don't know if the other trustees were or not, I just don't remember. But, you know, they're asking what we wanna do with FBWC claims.
Is this for the big one?
Yes,
Okay.
this,
I want to address that really quick. You brought it up, it's an important subject. We had a BWC claim that was going to potentially, we could have been reimbursed, I believe, $23,000, something of that nature. However, part of that package is when BWC does that kind of thing, they tag you with your rate increases. So we would have a rate increase of $11,000 per year for 4 years. So the people from Sedgwick and the people strongly encourage us not to pursue the reclamation of those wages. We paid the man during his time. The concept was you apply for it, you get your wages back from BWC. The reality is, if we do that, we don't throw any more money away.
well, the only thing is that we got, they're first of all, they're saying our cap is 12,500, so that's an issue of it in itself.
But we're talking about what are we gonna do with the current claim, and you got the same information I do.
Right, but.
And we don't wanna, we might have to do other agreements with Sedgwick, but for that claim, I say, and I would make a recommendation, we probably ought to make a motion on it.
But remember, there is some, in the bargaining unit contract, that the employee has to assign benefits to the township, so I don't know how you just make a motion, I mean, you might wanna check with legal before you do anything.
I'll check with legal, but I think that if there's a time, and there always is a time frame. I think that think Sedgwick is promoting that we don't go after the shorthand in order to spend the longhand. And I think for your taxpayers and my tax dollars and ours, two things came out of this. One, we learned that we have to head on with our BWC claims in a proactive way, and that's what I got out of it. My first exposure to it on a board of this nature. And that's, if there's anything that can be gained long-term, it's gonna be because every time there's a legitimate claim, we're gonna be on it. And that even already happened with Denny. You know, we had those conversations. It was thankfully a small claim, but any claim is to be taken serious, so.
But we had another employee, just so you know, who was out for 9 months, more, you know, so 3
But
months longer.
that's nothing to do with what we're talking about.
But we don't have the same reimbursement, they did get the reimbursement and it did not raise our premium, so they're, you know, they're giving us the worst possible scenario, but you gotta, I mean, we actually had this happen and didn't, we
You brought it up.
recouped.
I shared, and I know you got the same information I got.
Yeah, no, I'm
All
just,
right.
but I had the benefit of actually seeing it happen,
So it's
so that's the
44 versus
difference.
23 is what it is.
That's correct.
Yep, okay.
In round numbers.
Okay. I make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All, roll call.
Mr. Christopher?
Aye.
Mr. Eastwood?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.